Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Click R3 number 51. It's a very digital time right now that we're in, Ryan. How you doing over there, sir?
Very digital. You know, it's
Yes.
it's a shame that we don't print this physically. I'm not sure how
Right,
we
we
do that
should.
with a live show.
Yeah, we could do the whole box set of 51 Click R3s on a bunch of Blu-rays.
We could do that. That'd be neat. Nobody
But
would
it
buy it. It'd be
no
neat.
one no one would buy that. 51 Click R3 episodes. I don't know how many Blu-rays would that be.
These are not a big file, right? What, like 2 gigs, 3 gigs?
Yeah, now I think they're like 4 or 5 gigabytes when you get them all
Are they
StreamYard. Although
real?
you could probably compress it, but
You can compress that. We can get all 50 on a dual layer Blu-ray, easy.
yeah, the ultra high def Blu-ray.
Ultra
That'll
HD
be
definitely,
good.
but a dual layer, yes.
Man. Yeah, that would be funny. A whole box. What if we just on purpose put it on like 8 Blu-rays just to do it? I swear, sometimes you buy a box set and you're like, do they need all these Blu-rays? I don't know.
Maybe. If you want
I
like really
guess.
high quality lossless, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that's true. That's true. It's yeah, I'm trying to picture it in my mind. Would you have the whole like the spine? If you line them all up, would it make like a certain like image or something across?
Yeah, we could do something like that. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen any podcasts or anyone put stuff on like physical media. That's an interesting idea.
I've always thought it'd be kind of neat to like do that for like the 30 platinum videos, but I'm like, I think there's like a myriad amount of licensing issues the second you like sell it.
Oh, yeah, no, that's fair.
Yeah.
Because I know that there's the whole understanding between video game companies and people who make videos on places like YouTube and stuff. It's just when you when you put it on like discs and start trying to sell it, I think that would at least come onto their radar.
Yeah. Yeah. You
I think
you couldn't sell it. Yeah. It'd have to be all completely original.
Yeah. Well, it's was my camera coming in as the 360p camera.
It was when I joined it, but you look
turn it off and turn it back on if it fixes it. Looks fine on my end.
No.
Yeah, it looks fine on my end. Man, maybe it'll probably buffer after a little bit.
I'm saying, John, you'd be if this was locally played, a full gold master offline, you'd look crisp.
I see. Well, get ready for cloud streaming. Not ready for the digital future. I am not. I'm not ready for the digital future. No,
you really do come into these chats with like initially you're always uploading something, so you're like very much not even potato quality.
I'm always uploading. I'm always uploading something, man.
Heavy streaming artifacts, where I'm like, I think that's John. If I go back and squint a little bit,
something's uploading, man. That's always the case. Oh, look at people coming by. Shout out to the early live viewers here. Good to see everyone coming through. We were gonna do last week, but some stuff came up, and actually it worked out because we would have done it like just before all the financial stuff went down. So we actually would have missed that, and then we would have been another week late to that. So this kind of worked out. We just had more stuff that we can stack on top that actually is like relevant to the whole thing going on right now anyway.
Yes.
So it worked out. Happy accident, I guess. But how is everything over there for you, Ryan? Any fun games? Anything you've been playing?
No, not playing. No, I'm staying busy with like just editing stuff. So hopefully I'll have some interesting things to watch coming into the Q4.
Can't even look at a game anymore, can you?
I have been like, here's the thing, right? If it's really locked in, if it's not like, it's like, okay, well, this is the last year and a half of discs being printed. So I'm like, I should probably pick up a few things just to make sure I've got them. Yeah.
Yeah. And also you got to try to figure out what game is going to be the last one that they last new game that they print, not like reprints, but like, what's the last game that gets that physical print?
Yeah. It's tough to say. It would probably be like right down to the wire, like January something. That's like a new release.
Yep. Well, even because if they print it in January, it would still probably make it out in February or March or something, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. Yeah, I guess we could see it sort of spread into February if we assume January is like the cutoff of submission and not necessarily like retail launches. So yeah, possibly.
Yeah, I'd be so curious just to track that and figure it out. Because I wouldn't mind picking up, although it'd probably be some like shovelware game or something that's like we can get in right under the wire and we can have that legacy, the last PS5 game.
I think the last retail Blu-ray release, and I say retail, it didn't go to retail, but I think it was Retro City Rampage on PS3. That was the last.
That's right.
Blu-ray.
I have that.
Yeah, well, and that I bought it for that. I'm like, this is not really the game for me, but there's a novelty to that, and I'm like, I got to get this.
Yeah, I think they randomly messaged me and were like, "Can we send this to you?" I said, "Okay, I guess."
Oh, I paid for mine. Jeez.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, but it's just random. That's the only reason. That's the reason I really remember like that I have it, because they just randomly were like, "Hey, can we send this to you?" It's like I think that's the last PS3 game that was printed, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think it was like 2020 too. It was really late. It was like 2020, 2021, something like that when that came out.
How are you doing with all this, Ryan? Is it still sunk in for you yet? Because it seems like every like few days there's something else that happens that kind of just reminds you that this is the future.
Yeah, well, I mean, we could just. It depends on how much the audience cares to keep hearing about this. What the thing I've been noticing is that inner community conflict is just continuing to grow. Right. Some folks are just like so tired of hearing about it. There has been stuff that keeps coming out, obviously. So we have stories about it, I
don't know. I don't know if people are that tired. I still people who are just so engaged in the conversation about it, because it's such a massive shift for the industry.
Well, it's like if you want it to stick around, then you're preying on everything to see if we have some like good or encouraging news about it. And if you don't, you kind of walk in with this attitude of like, get over it, which I don't know. I feel like I'm seeing more and more of that, anecdotally as it sounds. But I mean, the big thing is the report, right? So that's what I guess it was a good thing that we missed Click R3 last week, because over that early morning of Japan, that's when Sony had their fiscal year 2026 Q1 report. So that's for the 3 months ending June 30th. Now we have the usual boring PlayStation numbers in here. They sold 1.6 million PS5s for the quarter. That's down from 2.5 million year over year. But PS5 hardware is now at 95.3 million consoles sold worldwide. On a launch line basis, John, PS4 was at 100 million units in the same time frame. So the gap is definitely widening more, and that was certainly covering a stretch of PS5 pricing being pretty expensive now. Hardware revenue is down 9.8% too.
I kind of think it's going to be, if you launch align them, it's going to be tough for the PS5 to catch the PS4. The PS5 might catch it just in the way of it's for sale for like 12 years or something. Yeah, that might be what it is. But because I know GTA 6 is coming up, but I have serious concerns that Sony's going to be able to make any extra PS5s than what they forecasted.
Right.
I think they're kind of locked in what they have, and even that is kind of a struggle to get the amount of memory they need.
So they did include a line on the report that says they've secured enough memory necessary to meet their projected sales volume for the fiscal year. And there's no change to their plans for hardware profitability. So it should be similar to the previous year. Now, if you remember, they used that same language either 2 or 3 quarters ago. They said, like, we've secured memory, we're good for the holiday selling period, and then they still increased prices. So, this reads as though like, oh, we've got enough to make the consoles that we're expecting.
Yes.
Our numbers aren't going to change, but I'm not sure if that still fully insulates them from possibly increasing prices again.
No, because I think they're just communicating that they have enough RAM allocated to make the PS5s, but I don't necessarily think they're saying, hey, the PS5 price is going to stay the same because we got this RAM at the price point that we need to keep the price where it is. They're using very loose language with this, and I just want people to understand that so they don't get necessarily blindsided. There is a possibility they still raise prices on the PS5 randomly, even right ahead of the holidays, which probably is a bad idea, but man, everything is like so messed up right now. I saw that the RAM allocation through 2027 is already spoken for. And when I see that, I go, wow, Sony's not messing around when they go, hey, we got what we needed for the rest of this fiscal year, but who knows after that. And even then, when I see those headlines, whatever Sony is able to make right now, that's it. So I actually think we're going to run into a situation this holiday, Ryan, where there is a PS5 shortage, like for consoles.
You think
because
there
of
will
GTA
be?
6. I think there's gonna be a shortage. I think it's gonna be very similar, maybe not on the level, but similar to what happened when with the lockdowns and COVID and the supply chain disruption. The reason I don't think it's gonna be on the same level is because that was the launch of the PS5, and everyone was just they were trying to build their install size up, but also people were coming over from the PS4 where you had a large audience that was trying to buy into a PS5 and they couldn't find them. So they took to eBay and stuff. Here, though, GTA 6, I could see actually pushing them up over the edge a little bit in the holiday season. And you do have sellouts across the board for the PS5, and people take the secondhand market, maybe not to the level where we saw $1,500 PS5s back then. I don't think we see that, but I wouldn't be shocked if some of these PS5s climb to like $800-900, something like that during the holiday season on places like eBay.
See, I'm kind of on the opposite side of this, where I think I was feeling this before the price increases, but
Mhm.
and I like when I did the one conversation with Matt Piscatella. I know you had a more recent one, but I had asked him, I'm like, how much is that game going to move the needle? It is an outlier in the sense that it's
Mhm.
going to be the biggest entertainment product launch ever, but at least like contextually for consoles, because PlayStation already has 90 million out there, like that sort of serves the people that already are ready to play the game.
Right.
So I asked him, like, how many more are we really going to see sold? He's like, yeah, it's similar to GTA 5. He's like, we saw kind of an uptick back in 2013, but nothing really super substantial. This game I feel is on another level to GTA 5 back in 2013. So I'm very curious if it would move the needle that much, since it's already going to serve 90 million people and the additional 35, 40, whatever, Microsoft's got out there now.
Sure, sure. The thing with that comparable to me though is 2013. So we got GTA 5 and then the PS4 and the Xbox One came out 2 months later or something like that. Whereas here it's just going to be the PS5 and the Xbox Series, and there's not going to be anything else pulling money away technically in terms of that console space with a new system. Like if the PS6 was coming out this holiday as well, I'd be like, well, okay, maybe it'll be kind of split up and some people will also just buy the PS6 and not be looking for a PS5 the whole time. But that's I just have the feeling that we think that Sony has a significant number, we'll even say, of PS5s ready to go, and it'll match new GTA 6 purchases. But I think there's a possibility that we could get a little short on the console side,
Mhm.
just because of, dude, all the stuff that's happened with GTA 6. It seems like such a behemoth for this holiday season.
Right. Well, that I guess we'll have to see how that shakes out. We'll obviously talk about GTA 6 later for the news that dropped today. But sticking with this report, again, more boring sales stuff, but games and network services, the sales are essentially flat. They say a primary negative impact is a decrease in sales of hardware due to a decrease in unit sales. Operating income saw a 37% increase driven by U.S. tariff refunds and exchange rates. I highly doubt that any of that savings will be passed down to the customer.
No, it won't. Clap it up, everybody, though. So good job, everyone. We did it. We did it.
A negative impact was on an increase in costs and investments for next-gen hardware. That's
Mhm.
very much still coming. But during the Q&A portion, this is the big deal, right? So the CFO, Chief Financial Officer, Lynn Tao, she's formerly of SIE as well. So this hits home for her, but she did address the ongoing disk issue. So a reporter with Nikkei asked about the user backlash, why Sony made the decision. Was it for next gen, improving margins? Was there what's their response, right? Now this is all via translation. Lynn gave kind of a very long quote here, so I'm not going to dwell on all this, but the key one that everyone's sharing around is where she said, and I quote here: "At this point in time, we are not seeing any impact on our business as of now, but going forward about the content sales, I think a large part is already digitized, and therefore, as a result of the discontinuation of discs, we don't see that there will be any negative impact on our business. However, as I already said, the users, the players, the player attachments, and we have to think about how to respond to that feedback." Unquote. So they're aware of it, which big surprise, of course they are. They're basically saying, yeah, we hear them. All systems are go.
Yeah, they they with that sticker that got slapped on the PS5 recently. It's like this has been in the works for a bit. They've been planning it, and they would have to see some crazy decline all of a sudden out of nowhere in terms of player counts or revenue or anything. Something would really have to tip the scales for them. And I don't, they know GTA 6 is coming. Like that really is. I feel like, what if GTA 6 wasn't necessarily there in front of them in a few months? I do wonder if they would have been a little more nervous about this. But the fact that GTA 6 is completely digital as well, it's going to be one of the easiest things to show investors in a couple reports. Like you can't wait till you see this digital ratio because 50 million GTA 6 games sold in 6 months or something, and it just completely dwarfs any physical sales. And we made the right decision. And that's the thing. In the short term, they are technically right. They're probably not going to see any significant decline to their business because of people who already own the PS5. We know there's 95 million people own the PS5, and GTA 6 is going to do big numbers because it reaches the mainstream who, I mean, it probably been buying a lot of digital games, and that's it, you know? So I think this kind of lines up for Sony in the short term, but man, I do wonder if this is almost like a mirage as well for them, Ryan, because the real test is going to be when they show the PS6.
Well, that the big question mark for this whole thing is that they're not saying anything about next gen.
Right.
You know, the whole, you know, I mean, a key argument is, okay, discs are going away. What are you going to do for next gen hardware? You know, because people keep hearing about Project Positron. It's like, okay, a disc to digital program. All right, that's not, you know, now we're talking. That sort of softens the blow a little bit. Or, you know, just like a better PlayStation Store, better digital rights. But what happens with the existing discs? Can I transfer them? Is there any way I can take the license forward? You know, how are you going to do right by all the discs that you've sold for the past 13 years? You know, every PS4 disc plays. You know, we expect PS4 and 5 games will play on PlayStation 6. And there was not a small amount of PS4 physical games being sold back in 2013, right? Like,
right.
There is a lot of volume out there. And so it sucks that in the here and now, the only thing that's being said is we're taking something away. There's no carrot on the stick in front of us right now.
I've thought about the idea of them selling, like, because I just don't think the disk drive that we have right now on our PS5, you know, Pro or whatever, the detached one, I just don't feel like that's going to conform to the PS6 because it's being developed obviously as a digital first system. But I thought about the idea of some kind of enclosure or attachment for it to where it then just turns it into like a USB drive, basically. That way, if you already have it, they don't have to because in their mind, they also probably don't want to have to redesign or create a new Blu-ray drive. This is like, to have to do that and then pair it with the PS6. They're obviously trying to leave this stuff behind. So I thought about like a $30, $20, I'd like to say, but it's a $30 enclosure where you kind of get it. You smash the disk drive in and then you plug it in that way. They got to come up. I feel like they got to come up with something. If there is no plan for disc owners right now who have been with them for 2 generations now, accruing these game discs, that's going to be insane.
So you're proposing the existing drive they sell now.
Yes.
They would sell a cheaper $20, like it connects on that back, you know, locking mechanism. And that is like a sort of PSVR 1 adapter to a PlayStation 6 to read discs.
Yes. Think about like a hard drive enclosure, but just larger. And it's just an enclosure for that guy.
Sure. Yeah. That would be interesting. I mean, that's the thing, like, right? Like surely, I know we're giving them too much credit here, but surely they have to allow some way for all the existing discs to be playable on new hardware. It's just, what does that look? How compliant is that really?
I mean, if they have a positron thing and hey, this whole time they actually do have a way to do it and they're going to okay, we got something there, because there's also the knock-on effect of now we figured out how your game discs will work with the handheld. You know, because that's something we were trying to figure out too. So it's like, okay, positron works, then you can just pop your physical media in and it'll digitize it, but also it still works in your collection and it'll work on your handheld now. It's like, okay, we're getting somewhere. But you're right in that they have not detailed any of that. They, you know what, interesting enough, they haven't even addressed it in a way of saying, we have a plan if you do have physical media. We have a plan for you for next generation, but we're not pursuing PlayStation 6 physical media. But we're not going to leave you guys behind. They have not said that. And that one is a little concerning, I will admit.
That's the problem. It's like, obviously PS6 is not they're not ready to talk about it. They will call it the next gen platform. They disclosed it in this financial report. I mean, all you had to do is include 1 or 2 lines, just a bare bones sentence of, we are planning to do this for the next gen hardware. It's just a little something would have probably gone a long way.
I'm a little concerned about something now, Ryan, with this announcement that's happened and things that have been happening as we're getting reports now with a lot of the hardware side. And it's a situation that could get really like weird and awkward for Sony. And so they have now made this announcement a year and a half in advance. And they said it to investors. Hey, we told everyone a year and a half, almost like, they're like looking for the high five of like being nice and letting everyone know. But it feels like the plan, because of this announcement, to me anyway, where they're like, hey, January 2028, like we're out. Okay, well, I assume that means that holiday 2027, the PS6 will be on the scene. And then a couple months later, you're completely away from disc manufacturing for the most part, reprints and stuff, sure. But it kind of feels like next year is when they'll be talking about the PS6. But I'm seeing more and more reports come in right now because this memory RAM stuff, it's like month to month, it feels like. And that new report that came out then had another report stacked on top of it where analysts are trying to figure out like when is going to be the best time for companies to buy RAM even. Like they're trying to work this out, stock market stuff, I'm sure, and for investors. But it's coming down to 2027 is a horrific year to do anything RAM related, apparently, because all the stock has been accounted for. And apparently on top of that, these AI companies are trying to come in and offer even well above market price to snatch some of these other contracts out from under people, these other companies. Sure. So there's still like this fight going on behind the scenes over what typically wouldn't be a very limited pool of RAM. But these AI data center companies or whatever are trying to eat up like the majority of it and put it in data centers that, let's face it, probably will go unused for a while. But the whole thing here is, I don't know how Sony could even make enough PS6 systems next year if this is like the premise we're going on. Because if they even scaled it back a bit and, it's 24 gigabytes of GDDR6 or something like that, I actually think they would have a hard time getting enough of that to launch with. What do we usually hear in the first week of a system launching? It sold 1 million systems. I kind of feel like they would struggle to make multiple millions for the holiday. That might be a system they launch with less than 1 million systems then. And It would still be significantly expensive because the prices on these things are too high. So the point is, the speculation is that 2028 will actually be a better year to source RAM than 2027, or even right now. I almost wonder if Sony's going to find their way into 2028 with this system, thinking they were going to talk about it the whole time of 2027. It gets delayed a year, like a full year, holiday 2028. And they're left with this weird gap where they've made the announcement that they are like digital now, but they were expecting to have a digital next-gen system on the market. And they're like, we can't tell people during 2027 about our plans for this digital ecosystem. And we're kind of just left hanging now.
Well, it's so when you with the memory thing, we'll just jump to that story. As you mentioned, Samsung, SK Hynix, and Micron, apparently all their supply for 2027 is gone, completely driven by AI demand and long-term agreements. So apparently that's like a lot of companies are also doing multi-year agreements. So my line of thinking was, because you got to figure PlayStation has a 30-year history in manufacturing. They're no strangers to this business. This is an unprecedented circumstance, no doubt. But, if you have to think, the plan was ship holiday 27, maybe 28, that's sort of like the space we're working with here. And arguably it's like, okay, you might as well ship it because the problem isn't really going away. Maybe 28 prices look a little better, but wouldn't you consider that whatever they were trying to secure, whether it was 24, 30 gigs of GDDR7, whatever they were trying to get, because they were designing this thing 4 years ago. They've got this long-term APU roadmap. They're working directly with AMD now for Project Amethyst. Wouldn't you think by the time this stuff really starts getting bad, that PlayStation steps in right away and they're like an early contract holder? Possibly. Like this report from Digitimes about how it's like, oh, now like 2027 is all eaten up. It's not like PlayStation stepped in late. I would almost posit that they stepped in as early as they could, and maybe they agreed to something multi-year. This might have been something where they might be already locked in, and they've been locked in, which they might have agreed to high market prices, but they might have insulated themselves from the craziness of 2027 right now.
That's true.
So I'm sort of in a weird spot of, is PlayStation that negligent? Like they've been doing this for a long time. Like I think they'd be able to navigate this and maybe have already agreed to that allocation. And maybe they just stepped in and said, fuck it, we'll give you guys what you want, but we want this price guaranteed for 5 years minimum.
So, I think that's a possibility. My thing is I keep seeing companies that I feel like would have, I'll say significantly more buying power than Sony kind of get turned down or smacked around a bit. So
yeah, okay.
like if you had to sit down and look at these two companies, okay, Sony, who's making PlayStation 5 systems, or Apple, who's making crazy amounts of devices, like so many, iPhones, iPads, whatever. And then we get report that they go to CXMT. They even were looking for permission from the government to go source them and be like, hey, we can get better deals from them, we think, because none of these other companies are budging for us. And they go there and they get turned down by this other company because they're like, hey, we're trying to get a better deal on this. So they're going to China, and they were like, no, like you should see the deals we're working with right now. It's insane. So the fact that Apple is like literally globetrotting right now to find better deals on memory, and they're getting turned down, man, I think about the position Sony is in, Microsoft as well, but Microsoft's kind of weird about their, like they're not in their mind hinging on 100 million unit system that they're trying to make, where they're going to sell it as like their big primary thing. Microsoft's like in this weird, we don't even know where they are right now with all this stuff, but they have been very transparent about this. And now they're sitting on an Xbox Series X, their flagship system, that's $800. And it sounds like it's going up in price again next year because they're losing $150 per system. I mean, that would be such an outlier between them. And I know Sony is better at sourcing and putting together hardware than Microsoft. I feel like most people understand that now. It's hard for me to believe that Microsoft's break even for the Xbox Series X is near $1,000 right now, and Sony's still comfortably sitting with a $650 PS5.
The Apple thing is a great point. Yeah. I totally overlooked that Apple's apparently got some trouble sourcing it too. It's tough, dude. I feel like it's maybe somewhere in the middle. They've got a relationship. They've got, they can source this stuff, but the big question mark is like, what did they pay? We're just not going to know until they show this thing.
Right.
Not even show it. I mean, they'll show it, right? But it's going to be like PS5 all over again. Remember how long it took for them to finally put a price on it?
Yeah.
And people were stir. I remember it so well. I'm sure you do too. People were stir crazy. What is the price? And it's going to be like that all over again. Maybe more so because there's so much baked in pricing concerns now.
They're going to wait till the last minute to tell us the price on the PS6 whenever that does pop up. But my thought was if they still want to introduce a system for next holiday, if that handheld is not their PS6, as I was messing around with the idea of that before, they could put the handheld out there if it's going to be playing mostly PS5 games, and it would have less RAM than the PS6. So that's at least something they could justify in their mind of, oh, it's not going to be as expensive. And even then, in the PC handheld space, $800 is about right to almost like cheaper than the Field. As crazy as it sounds. And that would at least be able to sit alongside the PS5. and then also the PS6 later on. So it's just a weird situation for Sony. But just based on this announcement for the digital push, it feels like the PS6 is supposed to come out next year.
It does. Well, I mean, I think that was always the plan.
Yeah.
And now they're sitting here. This is why I don't know if it's related. I mean, this is speculation on my part, but I feel like a lot of people that the whole disc thing is too soon. That's why we're all surprised by it. That's why there's a huge controversy over it. Controversy over it. You know, if this was happening during PlayStation 7, I think it wouldn't be what it is now. If that's fair to say, I feel like this was a somewhat recent decision. You know, people are saying it's like, of course they were working to. I mean, sure to it, but you know, like they've got a sort of responsibility. Yeah, that was at least Sean Layden's line of thinking, and that was when he was at the company up until 2019. Not to say his, you know, how he feels about it is like the be all end all answer, but the roundabout point I'm trying to make here is that I feel like it was a more recent, more short-sighted decision to insulate their numbers. Because it's a weird thing, right? Like physical media is already kind of as low as it's ever been. So the publishers still make plenty of money. PlayStation makes plenty of money. This might be a historic record-breaking quarter for them. Their forecast is insane. If they hit it, it's going to be like one of the best the industry's ever seen. They don't have a problem making money. But if we're thinking about next generation, where they're going to have a massive problem scaling up, you know, they have to tell a shareholder something, and getting rid of discs and like just squeezing that much extra revenue. Like to me, that reads as a short-sighted, we're doing this to just try to keep the numbers up.
Yes.
And that sucks. If that's what happened.
I mean, that is what it feels like. They're going into generation where they need to figure out ways to generate more money or just revenue and profit. Digital is it almost feels, I almost wonder if they feel kind of not forced into it, but like this is a necessity for them to do more than it should be at this point. But budgets are crazy. We see it. It's just, I guess this is what they've worked themselves into. But it's, I mean, the fact that they are, I mean, just getting beaten up online constantly and they're just kind of taking it. I mean, they basically, I guess they in their mind are like, well, we can't go back at this point. So I guess this is where we are now.
I'd argue they could.
I think they could too, but man, every time we're like, maybe they could go back, a sticker shows up on the box. Maybe we could go back. Lin Tao is like, we don't think anything's going to happen. I think we're good.
Well, that's why it sucks, right? Because like we don't have to lie. Yeah, it's not going to, like, they can do this and it's probably not going to change anything. Like it won't affect their numbers. I hate to say it. It has to be a choice. Like the only way PlayStation changes course is literally goodwill. They would not do it because it's going to harm their bottom line. That's why the key argument I've been making for 4 fucking weeks is like, it's just a goodwill thing. Like it should stick around. You have a hardcore vocal audience and you need to do right by them. You know, you can't put that into a spreadsheet. These are people that are your most diehard fans. They put a lot of average spend into the console, and it sucks. But you know, they feel like they can just walk right over them.
They do feel like they can bulldoze this situation. That is true. They haven't tried. We haven't seen a state of play from them yet where there's because I'm thinking of the next event that's live streamed. I've seen this effect before, of course, where the live chat is up and it's going crazy. And they'll probably leave the live chat open too, because in their mind, they're like, let them vent in the chat. And that's because if they turned it off, it would be a lot worse then, you know? So, let them vent. I feel like that chat is going to go crazy. Whatever they're showing, it doesn't really matter.
Probably. It very likely would not. I mean, but the thing about chats is that they were never, I don't think I've ever seen a healthy chat for any of those live streams.
Our chat's healthy. Oh, okay.
For video game live streams, for publisher live streams.
Our chat's healthy. Look.
Or for like, even the TGAs are like ugly. Like every so often I open them up and I'm like, what is going on in here? I don't know. That's just me.
Well,
I will say I did also write, I mean, because it's still like another story that we didn't cover,
Mhm.
but like it's part of what I was saying. Like we don't have to lie. The numbers are not good. Matt Piscatella from Circana was sharing some data on physical PlayStation games sold during the calendar year. So this was a big headline. He said two games sold more than 10,000 physical units in the U.S. during the week ending July 11th. So that already gives you a benchmark of like for a singular week, oh, only two games broke 10,000 in the US. He said 7 games sold more than 100,000 physical units so far this year. A few days later, he responded to that post. He displayed a chart of US physical PlayStation games that sold over 100,000 units in the first half of the year, going back to 2003. So 2008 was the peak, with 100 games selling over 100,000 units. So now it's 7 as of 2026. He also showed a chart of the total physical software volume in the US, where the peak was 2009. That was 292 million physical units sold in a 12-month period ending June 2009. So for the same rolling 12 months ending June 2026, that fell to 37 million, which, remember, that's all platforms. So this is not strictly PlayStation at that point. But Matt also clarified that those 7 games that sold over 100,000, none of them reached 275,000. And also, we had some UK numbers as well. Christopher Dring from the game business chimed in. He said 1,000 sales would have been enough to be in the number 9 position for the UK physical charts. That was like, I think, mid-July when he said that or something. But 1,000 units in the UK. So it's like I said, we don't have to lie. Like the numbers are low.
Right.
So that's why it won't really affect their bottom line. But there's always these caveats people like to throw in. The one I always like mentioning, because this showed up with Capcom's numbers. Capcom had their report as well. They're making headlines too, right? Because they're like 90% something digital. And they also commented on this saying, yeah, we don't think it's going to affect us that much at all. The thing about Capcom, like they have high volume games like your Ari Requiem, your Pragmata. Yeah, but physical games at retail, they debut and then eventually they go away. You might have some reprints, but like that's why Capcom's numbers and a lot of the publisher numbers are back catalog titles, because physical games are not sold forever. They get their time to shine at retail. You might have a reprint or two and they go away. So it's always one of those weird things where it's like a gray area of it's primarily digital, but physical always has that window where like it does better than people think it does, or it's sort of, stymied a bit because maybe they don't print enough of them and it goes away. So it's like if you want a new copy, they don't exist anymore. Yeah, it's a weird middle ground.
Yeah, I also think there's like the belief that it's a hard line physical or digital buyer, and I think the majority of people are somewhere in the middle with physical and digital libraries who may kind of feel a bit slighted by this move as it is, but I think you're right in that there's going to be people as we go along that just think harder about their purchases because they won't necessarily walk through a store and see a game that's marked down to $20 physically and pick it up or something. Or just as you mentioned, the idea of, if I buy this, if I don't like it, I can go trade it in or resell it or something. That option is just gone right now. So I think I think in general people will be a little tighter with their purchases because of that.
Yeah. And rightfully so. I mean, things are expensive nowadays too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So any extra value you can squeeze out of your purchase, which could be, I'm gonna buy this, and then I know that the GameStop trade-in value is $30 some odd because it's the first week or something. I'm gonna buy it, I'll play through it, and then I'll trade it in and get something else.
Yeah, that was always the play for a lot of people.
For a lot of people, the play was, this is a long time back in the day, I don't know if they still do it. The play was, if you buy a used game at GameStop, you can bring it back within 7 days and just get your full money back.
Yeah, when did they always have that policy? I remember that was like a thing for a while.
As long as I worked there, that was the case, and there were a couple people I know that abused that constantly, and you'd know it because they'd bring it back, and you end up recognizing the guy after a time. You're like, okay, yeah, I know what you're doing, whatever. Yeah. And but he gives you a receipt that shows a return from a previous return, and it's like, okay. And but I mean, I'm like, hey, I guess that's the policy, whatever. I think at one point the district manager was like, hey, you don't have to do it every time. Like, the idea is you just kind of do it once, and if they keep bringing a receipt in that's like saying that they keep returning it, you can tell them no. But I'm like, dude, I don't care. What do I care? But it was that was a thing. That was the thing. It worked for used games. It was kind of like a rental service that people didn't necessarily know about.
And that's called a library, John.
No, it is. That's true. That is true. That is true. But you have to spend gas money. So, I mean, technically, if you showed up, bought a game, played it for the entire week, so you buy it on Saturday, bring it back the following Friday, you can just get your money back. They'll give you cash back and everything.
I was like, unless you're counting fuel costs, because you could just align that with grocery trips.
That's true. We were in a shopping center, or a grocery store. Yeah, you could have done that.
Yeah. Only go when you're going to get groceries. I got to beat this game before I go grocery shopping because I'm going to return it.
Dude, the one guy who would come in, he got a PSP and that's all he did. He'd buy PSP games and return them over and over again. Yeah. It was like that.
That's funny.
It was like that. It was like mid PSP generation when that was happening too. That he was doing it.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, that's one way to pirate PSP games and not pay for them. That was when Sony was having a real problem with that.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think of that. I had an original Xbox that was all modded up back then. I just brought it into the store and just dropping discs in and ripping them. But I think the PSP was a big one back then, and I think one of the guys there had a modded PSP, and he would do that during his shift. He'd be like, "Oh, this one looks good."
That's crazy. It's a Wild West back then. I mean, it was.
But it really was back then with how easy the PSP was to mod. One person there had a Pandora battery and just kind of passed it around to everyone.
Oh, that's what you do. I'm sure that was the scene at my GameStop back in the day.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff went on at GameStop back then. A lot of stuff.
I gotta go to my childhood GameStop.
It's probably not there anymore.
Mine is.
Oh, is it really?
Wow. Yeah, it is. It's still there. Yeah. That was the GameStop where I waited in line for GTA 4. Oh. They had a Pokemon Battle Revolution tournament that I participated in. I bought my PS3 there, my Wii there. Good times.
The one I worked at is gone. That's just like, that was one of the ones that didn't make the cut. But the one that I remember going to way, way back in the day where like my friend got the 360 when it first came out. And we just go back and forth there to pick up. If it wasn't at the mall, that one is still there. It's like a movie theater and everything in the shopping center. So it still exists. But the mall, that one used to have 2 and now it has 1. So,
I wasn't going to include this, but let me find this story real quick. Remember, okay, this was funny. GameStop CEO Ryan Cohen said PlayStation's decision to end disc production doesn't matter to them at all. He said it's totally, totally irrelevant.
Yes.
Because just 18% of their revenue comes from physical and digital software nowadays.
Yes.
What do you think of that percentage? Because to say it's weird. Like I'm not totally surprised that it's 18%, but to see a CEO say 18% is totally irrelevant, nearly 20% of your revenue is irrelevant. I think that's just lip service because clearly that's pretty substantial to your business.
I watched that interview just to see what was going on, and the guy does seem a little crazy. Their CEO,
he's nuts, dude. He's nuts.
He really, really wants to talk about them buying eBay. Like that's his big thing is pushing it.
Yeah,
and I think it's because GameStop very slowly has transitioned over into being like a Pokemon trading card store. And like they really pushed for this now. So if you go into the store, like mine, the one I talked about that's up the street, it's been there forever. They have like a table in the store now, and they have cards all over the one side of the wall, and they do a grading service in the store. And it seems like the big push is, hey, if we buy eBay, we now have a bunch of physical, they call them touch points, stores where people can come in and they can get their stuff graded there. Or you can buy through the store and you have confidence with us. And he's trying to merge eBay with GameStop, physical locations, and then the digital side of games or eBay. And that's all I want to talk about. Like the guy brought up, hey, GTA 6 coming out. That's going to get a lot of traffic for you guys, right? What do you think of that? It's like, that's when it turned into games are irrelevant for us. Let's go back to talking about eBay. So I looked into it just to see, and technically it is one of the smaller parts of the revenue. So gaming hardware, like used systems specifically, are like a big part, which makes sense because if you buy a used PS5 and you look at it now, it's $500 some odd. That's a pretty big chunk of revenue that comes in for one transaction. And like, how many used games does it take to get to $500 for one person? Quite a few. But that and then collectibles is 42 some odd percent, which is crazy, right? Collectibles. I'm like, really? But they grade everything that's basically not games in the store. And if you go into the store and look, 60% of the store is like all these knickknacks and t-shirts and whatever else. So it's a wide net that they cast with that term, but technically that is correct. They sell a lot of collectibles apparently.
Yeah, well, they definitely do. I mean, that was like what people dislike about them nowadays is you walk in, it's all collectibles.
What do you call them if games are not their primary driver anymore? What do you call them then?
Probably still GameStop, because that's the plausibility they have. They're doing TCG stuff like that. One of the ones close to me is the same thing. They're like designated as a TCG store, and they've got like a their slat shelving like all has like sleeves and binders and boxes and they have the tables. So and here's the guy. That's not even a wrong play. TCGs are like really hot nowadays.
Yeah, they seem to make a lot of money.
Just the dude himself, he is kind of a whack job. Picking up eBay, and they're like, we don't. This is not a real offer, no.
But I mean, he's still going for it. So I have no idea. Yeah. I don't know.
He's gunning for it. Good for him. Absolute psycho. Okay, we have some other news stories though. We'll move on to those. Other PlayStation news. It is a thing. PS Plus Essential, the August lineup is live right now. That's Dying Light 2 on PS4, PS5, Big Walk, day one launch title from House, and Signalis on PS4. Have you played Big Walk yet?
No. I saw that went into the service. It's set up as like hey, you got to get some friends to play this, and I haven't done that yet.
So. Right. I've heard it's really, really goofy and fun.
So got good reviews, like 90s.
Yeah. Seems like they nailed it again, because they did Untitled Goose Game, which was a silly little game on its own.
Oh yeah, that was a cool game. They definitely have a really like creative mindset there. People try to describe what Big Walk is, and it's basically, hey, you got to play it to know. So
I think it's like a co-op multiplayer like puzzle solving game, but like they just kind of let you do whatever. So there's like no structure to it. I think you just go in and try to solve things.
You just have a big walk.
You very much do walk your ass off in that game. I know that.
Big walk.
So that's August. We have new PS5 system software update beta available right now. And John, holy moly, is it exciting. 3 items on the changelog. They've set the enhanced PSSR image quality setting to on by default. So if you have a PS5 Pro and you have that setting off, it's on by default. And there's also a setting to turn Bluetooth off, which if you do that, the console can't use rust mode and HDMI link will not work. The changelog actually explains why this feature is in there. It's only for esports events or something similar. So it just keeps the console in a Bluetooth, off environment, because you're just hardwiring anyway.
Right.
And they've improved the system software performance and stability. What do you think?
Exciting. The PSSR 2 thing being used universally is at least cool.
I mean, I think if you're a pro owner, you're kind of in the know and you turn that on automatically. But
yeah,
it's on by default. All right, we had some pretty exciting game announcements and rumors though, because we had San Diego Comic-Con come and go. There were some panels for various PlayStation Studio games. The big one, God of War Lao Fei, has a release date confirmed during the panel. It's coming February 16th, 2027. Sooner than I thought. I was thinking March or April.
Yeah, we were saying first half, but that is soon. You're right to drop it in February, but I'll take it. That works for me.
Yeah. Big time. It's right next
physical
to
copy
too.
Physical copy too.
This physical copy in time.
Why did they tell us about that? That's weird.
they confirmed it.
That's strange. Why would they tell us about that?
Yeah. And adjacent to that news, during the panel, Santa Monica Studios head of creative Cory Barlog did confirm that the next Kratos God of War game is coming after Lao Fei, and it does connect directly to her story.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed obvious that the next one would have Kratos in it. I don't know. I mean, we know that the trilogy remake is a thing, so either way, there's gonna be another Kratos game. But they obviously have massive budgets for these games, and Kratos being in God of War is like a very safe bet. So yes, it would make sense that this would then connect to it. I'm just curious how it does and how it pushes the story forward. with
Well, Corey,
with Faye.
he did explain, and I quote, "Everything we are doing in the Faye game is a continuation of what came before and to set up and expand what comes next."
Mm.
Frank, who's that gelatinous cube played by Jack Quaid, Frank has been around since the beginning. It's interesting to see how to build this world out. Everything in the game is setting up for something so amazing, end quote. So, I mean, if you see like past interviews with Corey, like, and if you like replay Ragnarok, you realize the breadcrumbs. I mean, 2018 and Ragnarok, the breadcrumbs of Faye is like they're everywhere in the game, everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would think they've been setting this up for quite a bit. Now they get to realize it, soonish. I would think the Kratos next mainline Kratos God of War game is, good Lord, very far away.
Yeah, because we got the trilogy and then that.
Yeah. I would hope the trilogy maybe isn't a huge, not time sink, but maybe resource sink for the studio. I would almost think that, as they're wrapping up Faye, you've already got a smaller team that's ramping up the remake.
Yeah, because that feels like that's going to take a while, right? I mean, if you're doing the whole trilogy, that could span an entire generation.
Well, it possibly, but I would think if they're, a lot of those games are principally very similar assets, you sort of build everything for one, and that's like the framework for all three, potentially, outside of all the different models and stuff like that. But
I'd be okay with them releasing every couple of years. Hey, next God of War trilogy, next God of War, like it kind of feeling a little faster than what we've been used to with these big AAA first party games where it takes forever, or you get to the end of a generation and finally Naughty Dog shows up.
Right. If they do it like that. Yeah. That would be that kind of release cadence would I think slightly bug people, in that they got to pay for each one, but they'd be kind of happy with the idea of like, ooh, here's like all these consistent Santa Monica releases, which is like really unheard of for them.
See, that is funny you bring that up, that people pay for each one. It's like, man, that's how it was back then. It's every couple of years you got another one, then another one, and $60 each
So
time.
it's the same thing. Yeah. Well, I mean, you think, oh, should I wait 7 years for a new game? Or, oh, wait a minute, we've sort of gone back to those PS2 days of every 2 years they come out.
A lot easier just to buy the battle pass every 6 months, man.
Oh, no, John, don't say that. We have a rumor originating from our friend Nate the Hate over on Twitter about Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet. One person asked Nate about Intergalactic, if it's releasing next year, 2028. Nate said 2027 is the intended target. Very similar language to what Jason Schreier also said as well. Do we think it's going to launch on time, John?
Yeah, I kind of feel like it's a nice summer game.
Think so.
Like a July, August, maybe somewhere in there. That's what I'm thinking.
I'm just wondering, because here's like, this is a studio that runs into crunch and delays.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking
there should have already been crunch and delay because we haven't seen them show up yet.
I'm thinking, like, based on what we do or do not see at the end of this year, and I'm hoping the TGAs is where we see like a substantial like gameplay trailer or something.
Right.
That will probably telegraph like, oh, this is going to be ready next year. That'd be pretty big.
Yeah, I'm expecting them to have that. Of course, talk about La Fey, that being a big release for them. It feels like there'd be, I mean, I guess by the time, okay, so we get through those two, then we're at the end of the year when, again, you would expect the PS6 was some kind of cross-gen game, and that could be that Venom game, maybe, or something like that. Yeah, so that would actually make sense in terms of their pillar strategy, where they have 2 to 3 big pillar games per year. One of them being a way to launch the PS6. And although I still wonder if they would have an exclusive PlayStation 6 game at launch. You kind of have to. So
I mean, but that's the big question mark. Because conceivably there's zero reason to borrow the game on PS5. But if they want to like stick to the traditional console strategy, which they've historically always done, that would be what you'd do. It's funny, they do say like their only commitment is one tentpole title per year, but they'd have 2 pretty substantial ones. And the one thing I forgot to mention from their report is that they did have to adjust their forecast, and they specifically call out a first party title as being the reason why they had to adjust the forecast, the timing of one, which the only thing I can think of is Until Dawn 2 or Kena Scars of Cosmora, because that is a PS Studios game.
Yep.
Doesn't matter if it excuse me, doesn't matter if it's an external studio. A PS Studios game is considered a first party game. Not a studio, but a game. So
Right.
that was supposed to come out this year. It's like nowhere to be seen. Like we haven't even gotten a new trailer.
Yeah. So
I'm thinking that's next
Until
year.
Dawn 2, though, I could see that getting. Yeah, I could see that being the one that gets pushed, maybe.
Well, that would mean in 2027 that would actually have a number of PS Studio games.
Well, that's the thing. I've kind of expected 2027 to be somewhat loaded from Sony because like the last year that the PS5 is like the main focus. So we saw that ahead of the PS5. We had some pretty big or substantial PS4 games come out in, I don't say rapid succession, but it was like every couple of months is like what Ghost of Tsushima, Last of Us Part 2, and
yeah.
those are big games.
Tsushima and Part 2.
Yeah, those are big games, and they got them out, boom, boom, back to back. Then we run into the PS5. So, and even that, again, some cross-gen stuff thrown in there. So,
I mean, it'll definitely be a big year for sure to have that many higher profile PS Studio games ship, but hopefully Intergalactic is on time.
Yeah.
We also had a new story trailer for Wolverine come out as well from their panel at San Diego Comic-Con. Excuse me, that new story trailer released showed off Jean Grey, Deathstrike, Sabretooth. Logan was fighting the Hand. Pretty cool stuff going on there. We found out David Fleming is doing the musical score for the game. They did Superman 2025 and The Last of Us HBO. And we also saw a cool little collaboration announced. So Insomniac's Wolverine is going to get a costume based on the Marvel Tocon suit and then vice versa. So that's pretty neat as well. And there's a prequel comic that's going to be available. That's like building up to the events of the game.
Did you see Spider-Man Brand New Day yet?
I did not.
Okay.
No, I did not.
I saw it this week, and there's definitely some Insomniac coding in there for the movie with the way that Spider-Man's doing all kinds of flips and fighting and stuff, which was pretty cool. But they did have like the Hand was in there and some of these the characters, people you're naming right now. So it's just kind of interesting to see Insomniac kind of being referenced there with some of the moves, but then also some of the crossover from this movie into the game. And then we see that this movie alone spiked like concurrent player counts for Spider-Man 1 and 2, and it's that crossover, that synergy is interesting with that.
Yeah, it's that that synergy, that Sony PlayStation synergy. Yeah, that story came up I think 2 times in the last 2 weeks, but I think because Tom Holland commented on it, and then the director also commented on it. But he's like, yeah, like people at our stunt crew, like they like the games and they try to like put the finishers in the movie. So I haven't seen it yet, but it's cool that studio made such a culturally relevant, like really successful Spider-Man game that bled into the movies.
Movie was all right.
It was okay.
It was all right. You know what it is? I think I mean, I know this movie obviously has done massive numbers. I'm already kind of like looking towards Doomsday as it is. Like, I don't say looking past this movie, but obviously that's like this massive event again for Marvel, the MCU. But Spider-Man Brand New Day was good. It kind of set the Spider-Man character back on track. So
put him
back on track. Put him back on track. You know what I think it is? I think he needs like an iconic villain. He really doesn't have one.
You mean like a main villain?
They haven't done it. I think they got to bring in Venom. I think they have to at this point. They've done enough. They've had a bunch of different villains, and they've at times kind of just treated the villain like the little brother kind of, where he just kind of smacks him around and moves on. I kind of feel like they need a Venom now, like that one that's like truly on Spider-Man Brand New Day.
We're still on the movies.
Yeah, it's a Sony movie, isn't it?
Well, I got I mean, so
it's Spider-Man, isn't it?
It is Spider-Man.
Some people think Sony owns Spider-Man.
Some people do think that. Yes.
I think he needs a serious villain. I think you got to bring in Venom, but that's it.
For my money, give me Willem Dafoe over and over and over again. Because he plays a crazy.
That's the thing, though. They needed to get a villain from a different Spider-Man timeline, like Sam Raimi, and get his get the Raimi villain.
They'll keep doing all sorts of multiverse shenanigans, I'm sure. All right. And more Marvel news, though. We do have Marvel Tokon. So, I mean, that did come out recently. Pretty big PS Studios game from Arc System Works. So we had a few things going on there. They are going to do a patch. So they're fixing a variety of bugs and stability issues. I checked the reviews on Steam, and it looks like the game's once again having some PC issues, but this patch is promising a lot of PC optimization improvements, but PS5 is getting some lag input and lag adjustments. And apparently they're making 623 inputs easier to execute. And that's all feedback based on the open beta, which is pretty nuts. So it seems like they're certainly taking that feedback to heart. I mean, this is the kind of fighting game where if it has a pretty healthy esports scene, then it'll probably stay relevant for quite a while.
When I see these kind of games, it's like, man, I do sort of wish I was in the fighting games because it looks really cool. Like, there's a lot of style to it.
It does. It looks very style. I mean, you could pick it up for just the campaign,
Yeah. Okay. So how is it? What's the campaign like exactly? Because I think last time we heard it was like a comic book or something. And I was like, that's weird. Is it? But it's like the standard fighting game campaign where you just do fights, but they hit you with cutscenes in between and stuff.
Well, somebody in the chat could definitely chime in if they're playing it now, but my understanding is it's the comic book style storytelling. You get like cool flashy animations. There's like 5 stories or something to go through.
Huh.
And then you still have the battles interspersed in between. And I think it's like an 8 to 10 hour campaign or something. So
what's the platinum look like there for Ryan? Is
it
you got to do online battles?
I didn't check. But apparently it's like pretty doable.
Okay, win 50 online matches. Like that's that.
That's not doable, even remotely.
That's not happening.
I think PlayStation's sort of unspoken mandate of pretty achievable platinums is very much alive for Marvel Tokon. But again, somebody in chat can correct me otherwise.
Yeah, they were okay. I was looking. Yeah, motion comic book cutscenes. Thanks, Radic.
Yeah,
shout out to Radic.
They look pretty sweet too.
They do look pretty cool. I saw some people on social media showing it. I'm like, man, that game does look really cool.
It's got style. Did you see the intro? Like, so they released like the intro scene before the game came out. Dude, it's so anime. My face hurts.
Is it?
Like it's so anime. My face hurts. Like they were so unapologetically like Japanese inspired anime, and it's Marvel characters, but they very much give the angst of an animated intro. So it's pretty sick.
That's pretty awesome. Yeah. Man, I don't know. I'm on the fence about like where I am with fighting games in terms of skill or interest to that. I don't know. It's 60, first, isn't it? It's 60?
Yes.
Okay.
60,
okay.
Yeah. I think 50 or 60. We know the first DLC character is Phoenix Cyclops, by the way. They did confirm that.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I like that they do these weird offshoot characters. Like you're not going to guess who's going to be in the past most times. I assume it's going to be some weird stuff.
Well, yeah. So like, and there's speculation that from the Marvel Tokon comic that came out, that there's 3 characters featured in there, and so people are thinking that if we assume like each round is 4 characters because it's a 4v4, the first one's Phoenix Cyclops, but the characters that are in this comic is Thor, Nova, and Shala Ball. The female Silver Surfer.
That's random.
So, yeah, well, and that's it's quirky, so that's pretty neat. And they need more characters too. I mean, for a 4v4, like I think numbers is kind of the game here. You want a lot of variety, so I'm sure they'll have a lot.
I'm aged out. Can't do it anymore.
I was talking to my buddy Terrell, who loves fighting games, and we're sitting in his kitchen and we were talking about Tokon. He's like, yeah, it's not really for me or whatever. He's like, but you know what, son? He's like, I don't think I have it anymore. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like,
I don't have it anymore.
I'm like, you lost it? He's like, I can't. I'm getting my ass beat online. Like, I can't. I was like, damn, because this guy was so talented. Like, I thought he could have went to Evo.
Oh man.
Yeah. I remember like long summer nights where I'd like just chill at his house and I just watch him play Street Fighter 4. And he like the guy was winning like 9 out of 10 times every online match. I'm sitting there just watching like a kid in a candy store, like, oh wow, this is how the sausage is made.
And now he can't do it anymore.
Hey, the fat bastard said he can't do it anymore. It was crazy.
Man, jeez.
It's crazy.
It's like getting dunked on by your son on the basketball court like that.
I guess so.
Like
Yeah.
that kind of energy, man.
I don't know how he sleeps at night. I'll tell you.
Jeez.
I had this listed as a story, but you did mention it. Yeah, new PS5 disc consoles have a new warning
I know
sticker
you're
on 'em.
kidding. I know you're kidding. Now I'm not a big fighting game person, but I will do some first person shooting and stuff. I will do that.
John's a shooting guy.
Be glad they didn't bring Halo multiplayer to PlayStation. It would have been bad.
It may never come, apparently.
I know.
Yeah.
Now I'm a little sad about that, just because it would have been really funny.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a second too. But yeah, there's a new sticker on the PS5 hardware. New disc consoles have a little sticker that say January 2028. You know,
Couldn't commit to making a new box. Couldn't even do that.
hey, some people are looking at that thinking, hey, that's less of a commitment than printing it.
That is true. It technically is, but it's also I think shows some what's the word? They feel like they need to get the sticker out there. They need to get the message out there immediately. You know,
Yeah.
we're not gonna wait for these boxes to print through. We're just make stickers and send them out to retailers or
Send 'em out.
manufacturing. We got to get this done.
Get it out there. Next up, PlayStation is possibly considering new ad formats. So this was spotted by Digiday. There's some new job listings at SIE on site at San Mateo, where they're all advertising opportunities, partnerships, that field, things like that. More pertinently, there's one for a director of client partnerships, and it does specifically mention non-endemic brands. So it goes on to say they want to expand partnership categories to CPG, retail, automotive, financial services, telecom, entertainment. So while this could be, something very simple, which is gaming ads and collaborations and partnerships, SI has done that for 30 years. But, including non-endemic brands, non-gaming brands, that would be, in theory, concerning for some people.
Yeah, it's funny. I saw I think it was the push. What was it? The Push Square, Press Square, whatever. Push Square article about it, and they immediately went to like Coca-Cola and McDonald's. I'm like, man, that's how it is for us gamers, huh? That's what they go to immediately.
I was thinking like Nike, like shoes and stuff like that,
Yes, that's that one. I mean, look, we've how many times we've talked about this. These companies, they're all looking into ads now. EA has a whole division where they're trying to sell companies on doing ads in their games. Microsoft is doing a lot of research into it. It's just there's empty space on that dashboard, man, and you're seated. So what can they show you to make them more money? But I mean, Sony's already told it. They've told us this many times. They told investors we're going to figure out ways just to be able to monetize the base further. That's how we're going to make the number go up, the line go up. So,
well, that's the concern. I mean, dude, I'm sure like for decades this has been like an issue of like people getting spooked about non-gaming ads in their games, unless it's like super contextual, like a sports game. Okay, that kind of makes sense to be there. There was like billboards and burnout games, and that like didn't freak people out too much. But every so often, you get a Monster Energy can in your Death Stranding.
I mean, sometimes I will say sometimes it's funny to look back on games that do have advertising in them. And I'm thinking of if you go back and play, is it Midnight Club LA? Might be an older one than that. It is an older racing game, and they bring up the Nokia Sidekick, and it's like Nokia, this whole thing, and it's just. But that is such a snapshot in time that would be lost on so many people nowadays. But there's cross promotion and advertising in the game, and it's just there are some cases where I'm like, it's kind of funny. That's fun, but part of that is the nostalgia. Back then, when I first turned it on, I was like, I probably was like, man, it actually has like a Nokia in this. This is realistic, man. Like they're aware of real world brands. I do know a lot of the pitch back then was if it's an open world game and there's billboards, we can change it in real time. Power the cloud, So.
Yeah. Well, like here's the thing, not to take it a step further, but man, the scary thing is that if this stuff gets put in games and it's all digital, you know how many delistings you're going to see in 5-10 years?
That is true too. That is true.
Oh man, that'll suck, dude.
Well, I mean, racing games are here's that you're right about this in that, dude, racing games, especially if you think about how often they just go away, like it happens constantly, right? Those should be treated as rentals, like 10-year rentals at this point, because they do. I'm waiting for them to not only go away, but also get pulled from a library at some point. Because I mean, the crew was based on an online connection, but I'm waiting for a library pull at this point for some kind of likeness or because I assume all it takes is one of the car brands to be like, no, no, that's it, and then it has to go away. So you're right on that though, because I think it was Forza. I think Sean wanted to play Forza Motorsport. Trying to remember which one it was that he wanted to play. Might have been 6. And it's not for sale on the digital store. You have to buy the disc.
Mhm.
So you had to literally go and find the disc to play it.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it was. So
Well, because oftentimes, like, there are scenarios where, like, they'll actually make sure that, okay, the license is up, let's fix it. Like, MGS was down for a bit for, like, the war footage.
mhm.
And that was, like, a long-term license that they secured. So sometimes they go back and fix it, but I mean, usually if we're talking about an old game, it's because the publisher and the studio moved on from it, and then they get delisted. That sucks.
Yeah, and it's not even necessarily just because. So if you could have bought it for the last 5 years and you just didn't, it's like, okay, sure, whatever. I guess I could have bought it. But there are going to be people who come into gaming who are completely unaware of whatever was before them, and there's no way to literally buy it, play it, anything, and that becomes more problematic of just gaming in general, and looking back on its history. Like I've been playing the past couple of nights to show the kids. I was playing the original Mega Man games. So I beat one each night. I'm beating a Mega Man game. So I beat one. Yeah, literally Mega Man 1 last night. I beat Mega Man 2 before we started this up, and then I'll beat 3 probably tomorrow night because it takes like on the Mega Man Legacy collections an hour to beat them. But I think about it, I'm like, man, what if those were just digital? They never made the collection and that was it. And it just had to be delisted after so long. Things like that, it's just showing those old snapshots in time with the Nokia sidekick that you need to start the underground race that night.
Well, and the other thing, John, is that the ESA continues to lobby against the Video Game History Foundation. So there's no proper protections for these digital games after a set period of time to go into a library or a digital archive. This shit sucks. I'm just saying.
Hey, digital library is awesome. It's Vim's lair. that's a digital library right there. No, yeah, the thing is with the ESA though, the ESA is not really going to do a lot that people are going to be happy about because they're going to consistently lobby against a lot of. Do you think this is? Dude, wait till the digital rights stuff comes up. The ESA is going to be working overtime. You think they want to do any of this digital rights stuff? No, there's more work. Okay, and kind of it works against them in the sense of the profit margins as well, because if I can sell you my digital game, that means they're not selling you their digital game. So
this is true. I mean, something as simple as digital inheritance. Like if I pass away, where do my digital games go? Can I pass them on to my next of kin?
If they remember your password.
Yeah, well, yeah. On a very basic level, if they can just keep logging in, then yeah.
No, these are all good questions that they do not want to answer. That's it. They do not want to have any of that conversation at all. You know what they want to do? They want to extend this conversation long enough to where they can get the cloud streaming, and then they don't have to send you any files at all. So none of this matters. That's right.
Terrible.
Hey, have you tried any of this cloud streaming stuff recently?
Recently? How recent are we talking?
Well, you tried the PlayStation streaming, right? That's pretty good.
Yeah, PS5 game streaming is pretty solid.
Like through the PS, not through like, the portal, but like the PS5 wired up, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I've noticed that. I'm almost thinking Sony might try to sell PS6 games through that method. But I fired up Luna. I couldn't believe this thing. Like just on a whim, because if you have Amazon Prime, you have Luna. Just outright. And it fires up in the browser. If you go in your Amazon Prime account, it's just there. And it has like Indiana Jones is in there. Like these are just games you just have right now. Alan Wake 2 is in there. Hogwarts Legacy. all the Tomb Raiders are in there. It was really weird. I couldn't believe it. So I fire one up, and dude, the picture, the image quality is not as good, obviously, as native. The latency is somewhat shocking right now in a pretty good environment. Like to where I'm thinking, ooh, this might be getting close to that good enough territory for the mainstream. And I think people are going to quickly realize that the mainstream may not always be the best driver of the bus. All right. Because if they start to realize this works well enough for them, man.
I don't know. You see, I'm of the opinion that people don't want to play those games that way. Even I think the mainstream is in the know enough that they still want local playback. Does that make sense? It's sort of that like pie in the sky idea where Microsoft wants to reach like, a billion players, half a billion players. And it's like, you're only going to hit that number if people want to start playing console quality games outside of the console. And it just doesn't, people don't want to do that. They just don't.
No, but the idea would be that next generation, they would have a cloud box. That's like $200.
I know, but I'm just so unconvinced because it's every time it's offered in some way, there's no adoption. And the data always suggests that anybody that engages with it is already in the know and they know how that shit works because they have consoles already or something. Like you're just not reaching somebody that like, ooh, I've never had a PlayStation or not. You're not reaching those people.
No, I think it has to go through another generation of people. Like we have to go through a generation where there was never a physical media for them and it was always digital.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's what it takes. Yeah, that's definitely a multi-generational turnover to make it work.
Yeah, because dude, back in the day, I would have never imagined that we would be downloading games that are more than a gigabyte even, let alone 100 some odd gigabytes. And it happened very fast if you really think about this. I'm going back to like dial-up days, even early broadband where we had either DSL or Comcast with their very early cable. We were not downloading super fast with that. So to think that we just on a whim, if you buy an 80 gigabyte game and then you download it and it's literally downloaded in less than half an hour for some people, that's ridiculous. So I think about the technology advancement and how cloud gaming has significantly increased since Gaikai and how poorly that was done. And I don't know. That's in my mind, that's what happens. We're gonna go through the PS6 generation. We're gonna come out the other end. I'm a little concerned things get evaluated with cloud gaming in mind.
Perhaps.
Little concerned.
Maybe not. Maybe not. I know it's been a little bit here. You want to catch us up on the super chats?
Let's see. We have Zeron. It says, "Hi, Jean." Pronounce John.
Jean. Immediately messed it up.
And Ryan, I just started my Disc Mind's Eye Platinum run. A bit late, shameful, I know. Keep pressing the cross button as always.
There you go. Good for you.
Aladdin says, "Hi, first time I've managed to catch you live, but it's 3 a.m. and I'm on my way to work. Ooh, so I'll sadly have to listen to this later. You take it easy."
Yeah, I appreciate you coming in. 3 a.m. going to work, huh?
Sheesh.
Got grind.
Yeah. Chris, shout out Chris to the super sticker. Matt says, "Asha is for real. Sony needs to wake up."
Asha, John.
Is it Asha? I said Asha.
Asha Sharma.
Asha. Yeah. Zeron says, "I'm about to go to sleep, so forgive my attitude tonight. Everyone in chat right now, if you hate PlayStation, make the jump elsewhere already. You being here still says everything everyone needs to know."
That's a fair assessment.
I think there are a lot of people who like PlayStation but don't like their current direction.
I think you're seeing a lot of emotional responses because it's fine to be emotional about it. It's okay to say we love video games, we love this medium, and we don't want to see the direction that the company's going. It doesn't have to be a jumping down each other's throat kind of thing. Some people are just a little worked up about it.
Astrolock says, Thanos meme where he says, "Perhaps I treated you too harshly to Xbox." I've been seeing that a lot. We need to see what their next gen offering is too, because we're not gonna have a reset completely for both PlayStation and Xbox, but we got to see what I need to see the pitch for next gen at this point, because everyone's trying to rack their brains on how they're going to make this work. And I don't know. We'll see. We'll see who has the right answers between Xbox and PlayStation. There's a chance also that neither of them have the right answer. So Pikmin Gut says, I think we're assuming too much with PlayStation 6 backwards compatibility. Why wouldn't Sony want to resell you their PS4 or 5 games?
It would be catastrophic. I think it's a very safe expectation that 4 and 5 games will play on PlayStation 6.
Oh, yeah, no, it's digital ones definitely will. We're trying to figure out right now the disc-based, like the physical-based ones. Like, what's the process? Do we have to buy a bunch of extra stuff to make it happen? Do we have to daisy chain things together to get there? Mm-hmm. Can we just use our current one because there is a disc to digital program and we can literally digitize our physical games so they would work on a handheld or PS6? Those are the questions we have. And Sony's really not offering any answers right now. They're just kind of, they've literally just said this. I think I heard someone mention that they dropped the grenade, closed the door, and left. And it's like, kind of. That's kind of right. So,
right. My fault. They sent this when we were talking about all this nonsense. I'm just of the opinion that what kind of like win is that? I don't think their thought process is we want all those disc people to rebuy their games. I think it's going to be a very compliant sort of, we know we have a lot of discs in circulation. Here's the very compliant answer, and we still want you to be in the ecosystem.
Zeron says, I'm going to give everyone a wake-up call. Goodwill, PR, replies, chats mean nothing. If that's your form of protest, then pack it up against Steam already. I'm upset too, but that's just the useless noise. I do wonder, do you think there is I keep seeing this brought up too, if it's almost impossible to advertise well with Sony if that becomes a problem on social media for them? Because of all the replies that come in, and they get community note all the time too.
Yeah, I am of the opinion that if that sticks around long enough, I think it's a problem, because you have to think about like relationships, like if this doesn't go away, I mean it looks a certain way when you're like a publishing partner, and every time you partner with PlayStation, the trailer has no good commentary, the replies on Twitter has no good commentary. I get that. I think it's a valid response to think this way, that stuff doesn't mean anything. All the same, I think there is an opposite end of it. Very well could mean something if the reputation of the company is in the gutter for as long as it's in the gutter. Now, like at the end of the day, it's all motivated by money. So if their numbers tank, that's going to be the primary motivator. But I do find that PlayStation, and they will publicly talk about this stuff, they care about their brand. They care about the brand recognition. They care about, critical reception. They care about review scores. They do care about the way that they're seen and presented. So I think there is something tangible there. It's just obviously it would probably take a lot and perhaps a really long time for maybe something to happen. And fortunately, what we're seeing right now is no change.
Bobo says, y'all think the decision to end disc was made during the creation of the PS6 hardware, so designed with no drive in mind, or after the hardware finalized? I feel like the PS6 probably had a disk drive, if it doesn't now, at one point. So I think Ryan's right in that this was not like last minute, as in they literally decided the day they did it, but maybe months before.
I would think that the idea was, it'll have discs. Like, I think what we have now sort of telegraphed their plan of, one SKU is they technically only offer like one box now. It's just the drive is this like secondary snap-on thing. I would think that was going to be the framework for PlayStation 6, and now they're kind of like, we don't even want to manufacture discs anymore for the short-term number thing that I discussed earlier.
We didn't bring up, and I should have asked you about this. The Lintel said that they don't believe that the disc is a differentiating factor from PC.
Yeah, so that was like in all the quotes. There's just so much that I was like, we can't read all of this.
How you feel about that? Because I heard that, I was like, I don't know. I mean, it is technically a differentiating factor. That quote struck me as a little, I don't want to say detached, but there's something to the physical media that makes PlayStation. I mean, not even Xbox, somewhat to a degree. Although Xbox, obviously, the physical media isn't. I mean, it's not. It doesn't even hold 100 gigabytes, a 50 gigabyte disc. But there's just been something about how PlayStation has handled each generation with CD, DVD, Blu-ray, Ultra HD Blu-ray and stuff, where they have kind of followed along with media to where it has felt like a differentiating factor. And now that PC is digital completely across the board, I was a little surprised. They were like, nah, it's not really a differentiating factor. When to me, it is.
Mm-hmm. No, I would say it is. They'll always. I mean, you know this. They'll frame it when it's appropriate for them. You know, if they were like actually in third place and they were doing terrible, they'd probably be championing discs in some way, shape, or form, or at least be willing to say that's what makes us different or something. I don't know. I mean, I'm just spitballing here, but like that, you're right. Like they've sort of always been leading the space with like the new updated mediums for every generation. And it is a differentiator. Consoles have a lot more going for it. I think if you take away discs, there's still highly optimized closed boxes that PlayStation builds an SoC for. So I still think they are very much still consoles, but I would agree with you that comment felt very like detached.
Toasty says, John, can you do unboxing shorts on game code cards? You know what? I will do one on GTA. I've decided I'm going to do one on GTA 6. Because if anything else, I'm gonna get cover art and a box, and there better be a map in there. Okay, I'm getting. If you're paying the same digital or not, you know what? I'm going down with the ship, and I'm getting a case and the box art at least. Okay, they gotta print that for me.
I do. So I do have one game on that shelf that was that. It was a code in the box game.
Really?
It was Tomb Raider: The Temple of Osiris.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
On PS4. Yeah, that game went to retail as a code in the box. And I was like, well, you know, like I still want something for the shelf, so of course I bought it.
I think people will be genuinely interested just to see this GTA 6 code in a box. I think that's all. I think people will be genuinely interested in it. So yeah, whatever. I guess I'll do that.
Will they put foiling on the box art?
That is a good question, because if I get that box art and it is just completely flat, just a piece of paper, I'm gonna be kind of disappointed. I'm kind of disappointed. There's got to be some texture to it, right?
I hope so. Like GTA 4.
Lintos says, since Square Enix turned Final Fantasy 7 into 3 games with the remake trilogy, will they turn the Final Fantasy 13 trilogy into 9 games? No. I unironically, though, would like to see a remake of 13. I would.
A remake or just a remaster?
I would like to see a remake. Like why not?
Wow,
go for it.
You want to see a remake?
Hey, you know what? Hamaguchi did say that the game that people there want to make is Final Fantasy 13, because that's what they grew up with.
Yep.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, that's what generations do.
Redemption for Final Fantasy 13. Let's go. Let's see. Damien says, glad to see y'all back. Do you think DMC 1 remake could be shown at Gamescom possibly? Is the 25th anniversary this year and month in Japan. Ooh. Maybe Tokyo Game Show?
Do we have any rumors for that, or is this just like hoping it happens? The 25th?
The rumor we've had is that there is a Devil May Cry 6 that would be shown, right? We've heard that.
Yes.
And based on the fact that they keep telling us that Devil May Cry 5 is doing well, like constantly, kind of makes me think they're just, keeping that in our minds. I think that's what we'll probably see. Anything Devil May Cry related, it'll probably be that. It'll probably be Devil May Cry 6. And I think it'd be cool. I'm ready to see what that looks like exactly.
Okay.
Let's see. Tetris says, John and Ryan, did you play through Adventures of Elliot? GG. I got it. I did get it, because I did a whole unboxing on it. I started it up, but I have not played through it yet.
I have not.
I started it up though. Yes. I'm liking it so far after, I think, 4 hours. People were saying it's not like a super long game, but it's it reminds me kind of like a top-down Zelda game so far. So it's an interesting take on HD 2D because it is more of an action game, straight up. So pretty cool. That is all the chats I have there. We're good.
All right. Well, we did touch on this a little bit. Let's dive into this, John. What was the big news from today? It's about that Grand Theft Auto 6 gameplay extended look coming August 27th at 3 p.m. Eastern on Netflix. If you wait 6 hours, then it will go on YouTube and Rockstar's website. What I'll throw it over to you.
Yeah, this is a weird one, wasn't it? I saw it when I saw it when they announced that. I was like, what? Hold on a minute.
Snorted.
They're doing a so first it was a trailer for the announcement of them doing a trailer technically on Netflix. Now they have mentioned it's basically a deep dive, right? That's going to be the idea, extended look, if you will. So I think it is going to be like a 20-minute plus gameplay. I think they're going to show off a lot of stuff. And if we go to Netflix that day, right, and it's 2 minutes, okay, there's gonna be a problem. But I think it's I think Netflix paid them many millions of dollars to do this, and in doing that, they know it's like a decent showing. So it's like 20 minutes plus. It's going to go to YouTube and other social media platforms 6 hours later. But this is such a weird. All this does is show me how much of an outlier GTA 6 really is in the gaming industry. Every time something happens with this, whether it's, here's a trailer that shows in-engine footage, it's not even full gameplay, and it gets hundreds of millions of views. Here's the announcement of pre-orders opening, and all I see are people screenshotting the fact that they bought this pre-order without seeing gameplay at all. They haven't seen the game, and they're just flooding the timeline, to now Netflix spending some of their event expense money that usually they put into, I don't know, whatever money they spent on this, they probably could have spent on a straight to DVD like movie for their platform, like they tend to do. And I guess they said, what would probably work better for us if we just host this deep dive exclusive look at GTA 6 and get hundreds of millions of people looking at our platform. And you know what? For Netflix's standpoint, this, I don't know how much they spent, even millions of dollars. This is actually a good move on their part. It's weird. And Rockstar and Take-Two are obviously doing whatever they can to just get money for this, because it's like we have that aura to the game where we can just do this and people will be excited for it. And some people are excited for it. So it's strange, but I do not believe this is going to be something that's duplicated easily. Like, I think this is going to be almost a one-off that I don't say never see, because I mean, GTA 7 will happen eventually. I'm sure I'd like to think, but not common.
Yeah. I was trying to sort of like suss out where the real advantage was for Netflix here. Like, is there something I'm missing?
For Netflix? I mean, they were just thinking, wow, this gets a lot of interest. This would make more sense than funding, I don't know. Well, actually, I can't say Grown Ups 3 because that's actually a thing. But like funding some like random sequel or like fill in the gap movie. Let's use that budget to have Rockstar put their big gameplay debut on our platform. And now for the next 3 weeks, everyone's just going to talk about Netflix and GTA 6, and they have a countdown timer on their website. Like, this is a big deal to them, it seems like. So it's all awareness. It's just an advertising budget to them. That's all. I
guess I see it. It's just so unusual for games, for a gameplay trailer.
It is, but whenever we see this happen with GTA, it's massive every single time. So even Take-Two is like, oh, well, we can make some extra money. And you know what? It wouldn't shock me if Netflix approached Take-Two about this. It's like, hey, how about we host that and we give you a bunch of money? And they're like, okay, we were going to upload it anyway. Sure. That literally is found money. Isn't that crazy? Like, that's the level that GTA 6 is on. People are just giving them money, basically, because 6 hours later, it's going to be on YouTube anyway.
Well, what I'm curious about is that you don't spend that much money to get a 6 hour exclusivity window and make it damn sure that for those 6 hours, it has to be on Netflix.
Okay. This is a concern, right?
Right. Like, so do we have like waves of people on the DMCA button the second?
This is a question, right? We have some response for this.
Oh, we do.
because I was looking into this. I was like, hold on a minute, this could be problematic for everyone who wants to cover it. Right.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
wait a minute, if we take a screenshot, if we take some clips, will that be a problem? There was a person who did get who was it? There was a person who did get at least a response from a Netflix representative, which we're going to need more than that. We're going to need a couple of them. But they said that you're free to share the information with however you wish, whether that's screenshots or video clips. We don't know about co-streaming yet. These are questions that need to be answered. Netflix, I think, needs to put out like a do's and don'ts, if you will, a co-stream thing. They need to make it clear, because this could do a lot of damage to people's channels or their Twitch accounts or whatever, or even social media. Like, you could have your stuff struck down on, Twitter or whatever. So I definitely see the concern there. And because this is also, if you think about it, very, very uncommon to where even Netflix, this is uncharted waters for them. So I'm not really sure. I don't want to tell people what to do in this situation, because it could get them into trouble with their channel and DMCA takedowns. But it seems that Netflix understands that this world is different from movies and TV.
Mm-hmm.
Let me find. I can find the. Oh no, I had that in my notes. Hold on. Let me pull up my notes.
Well, it's because it's like you don't want just a straight rip of the whole video,
Right.
But like my thing too is like, I'll just wait the 6 hours, because anybody that does re-upload it, I mean, I want the best quality for it. I want 4K 60. Like, I just wait for the trailer.
I put the message in the private chat for you.
Okay. You're welcome to cover it as you wish. Reaction videos, breakdowns once it's live. Okay, so for 6 hours, you're going to have a lot of people in the content creation space find out real quick what they can and can't do.
Yes.
And and also they're just going to try to get as much out as possible within those 6 hours.
Yes, people are mentioning in the chat that Netflix is making a big gaming push. I do. Cloud streaming is on the way, guys. I'm telling you. Netflix is on it too. You're going to have some phone games. They're going to look into cloud streaming. Stadia was too early. Go on, Ryan. Stadia was too early.
Well, that'll be a hell of a thing. I would just wait for like a high quality stream. Like I wouldn't want to watch a re-upload, especially for a game that important.
But people will do coverage because they're going to comb through so like you'll have the text breakdowns, you'll have videos that try to do the analysis and zoom in. All of that to me is fair game, because you are doing full on commentary. It's transformative. It's the whole thing, right? People do trailer breakdowns all the time where they zoom in and try to find all the little Easter eggs. So that will also be a thing here. And I feel like most people should be protected in that regard for those 6 hours, and it should be fine.
Oh, I said 4K 60. No, I guess 4K 30. Yeah, that would be more accurate to say.
Oh yeah.
But just a high quality. I would want a high quality playback of the trailer. So I wouldn't even want to watch a re-upload or anything, but I don't know. I'm probably going to wait. I would think it is going to be like 20, 30 minutes. It'll probably be pretty substantial, I would think, which would be actually much longer than the deep dives they did for, well, actually the GTA 5 one was like, I think only 5 minutes long. It was pretty short, but that was 2013. Do you remember how long the Red Dead 2 one was?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because they always do that, like, like they'll voice it over and explain characters, world building, what you can do.
That is a good question. I don't know.
I know the Red Dead 2 one was longer.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a fair amount. Like this seems like it'd be almost substantial amounts of info. But the thing is, they really just need that. They don't even need much after this. If this really is a solid like deep dive on it, they could do little after they introduce a number of characters. They can do that thing where they push out like a 2-minute thing here leading up to release talking about this character in the world or this character in the world, and they can just spread it out over time because the namesake is there. We should find out tomorrow. I think Take-Two has their earnings call and report and stuff tomorrow, which is one of the reasons that this Netflix announcement went out, of course. I almost wonder if they drop a number for pre-orders, like how many pre-orders they've taken.
Oh shit, that'd be crazy if they did.
I almost wonder if they would do it. Like, what if they showed up and they said, we've already taken 10 million pre-orders in this thing? already. We haven't even showed the game yet. That would be insane if they did that. That I'd have to stop and be like, oh my gosh.
I mean, I'd love to see how much it made. I remember the headline in 2013, which was GTA 5 made $1 billion in one day, or I think it was a few days, one day or something like that. But it was a lot of money, and now I'm like sitting here 13 years later thinking, what's this one gonna do?
Well, they would count all those pre-orders day one, so they would like as soon as it goes live, they'd flip a switch, and if they've already made $1 billion from those pre-orders, they would then report it, I assume, right there, and say we made multiple billions of dollars in 24 hours, basically that day. So it'll eclipse 5, and yeah, I mean, I know it's an $80 game. For a lot of people, it's going to be $100 game. I think many people will go for that more expensive version.
Well, I want to be able to mod their cars and not get kicked out of barbershops.
I mean, I think there are people who bought GTA 5 once and have been doing the online and occasionally buying the shark cards, but have literally played it for a decade. And in their mind, they go, "It's $100. I'm going to play it for another decade." Okay.
And they over their lifetime probably paid more than $100 for GTA 5.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, because they've bought multiple versions of it.
Yep.
This is why, but like they're so invested in it, they're like, yeah, whatever, okay, sure. I want the ultimate. I want that random tattoo shop.
I am excited to see it. I always loved how the mainline GTAs, they're actually really stingy showing you gameplay. They wait till like pretty much right up to the end is when they'll finally show you gameplay. I remember GTA 4, they like actually did not do that like period, basically. You had to like wait till the review period for like direct captures for them to like show like just straight up regular gameplay with the HUD.
Whether you're interested in it or not for GTA 6, I think everyone's going to be at least curious how this works out and what it looks like. That, if nothing else, because it's such a massive game in terms of exposure and presence, and obviously the budget behind it. If people tell me this is the most expensive game ever made, like many people have kind of analyzed, been like, yeah, this seems like it. Okay, I want to see what the most expensive game ever made looks like.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we have a few other things to cover up here. Some faster third-party news stories. So, Phantom Blade Zero is that game has gone gold. That PS5 console exclusive. So it should be releasing on time, October 29th. Now, if you remember, we were supposed to get a dedicated state of play for this. I'm not sure if that's still happening, but they did confirm an 11-minute trailer is coming out very soon on the 11th.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with that.
I don't know. I don't know if that's still coming. Usually dedicated state of plays are like 15, 20-ish minutes. So I don't know. But the game's gone gold, so it should be ready to go.
I'm a little concerned right now.
Yeah, you think so? You think they pulled away from PlayStation there?
No, I think that's coming out. You said it was end of October, right? Is when they moved it to?
Yes.
What was that? What was the exact date?
October 29th.
I'm worried that's in proximity to Duskbloods. A little concerned right now.
They'll be okay.
Playing Duskbloods and Phantom Blade Zero back to back, that's going to be tough.
Yeah, Phantom Blade Zero is not a Souls-like.
I know, but that's the problem. That's a little bit of a problem because it looks like it feels like it would be like a Souls-like, but if it's not, but then the Duskbloods is there, I'm be switching off between action Souls-like to Souls-like multiplayer style game. That's gonna be tough.
You'll be okay.
Man.
John, you have range. You know that.
I know. It's just I don't want to overexert myself, you know.
Suffering from greatness. All right. Gameplay for Final Fantasy VII Revelation. That's been confirmed for Gamescom opening night live on August 25th. We've got a new look from with the game director, Naoki Yamaguchi, so they will be there with some Revelation gameplay. I also want to point out that Games Radar spoke with Naoki Yamaguchi, and we did find out the class system is called FITS. That's all in capital letters. Stands for Function Integrated Tactical Suit Wear. That is limited to 4 per party member.
They just made that anagram up so they could use the word fit.
No, it works.
It works. Your fit. That's all it is. They started with fit and they worked backwards. Like,
no.
How do we make this work?
No, they thought of the first part and then they were like, oh, this spells out fits. So that anyway, each party member only gets 4 classes, and he openly said like, yeah, games are just hard to make nowadays. compared to like older Final Fantasies where like a party member could have like 20 to 30 classes. They're like, no, we're just doing 4 each for this one.
Yeah, I saw people were like, "No, you can still do it." I just like, guys, that is literally the director for the game. He's actually being quite transparent here with you. So it's just funny. It's just it's social media. It's like Twitter. It's like, no, you can do it. It's okay. Well, I'll show you how. It's like, no, you won't. It's like, yeah, you're right. I won't.
I love that he's like, yeah, we're only doing 4. I'm like, thank God. You know how many permutations the game would have if it had like, way too many classes for each character. And then for the love of God, please put in a way for me to like save loadouts. Please.
I'll be real though. Like Naoki Hamaguchi doing a lot of good stuff here, trying to get this game to the finish line, finish up this trilogy. I don't really need to see any more of the game. I'm good.
Oh, they showed it once and you're good.
I'm good. I don't need to see more. I'm sold on it. I'm already this far into it. I have to see it through. But like, I feel like I don't need to see more of it. I think I'm good.
So you're not wrong. I actually don't need to see more either, but it's just funny that like they've only showed it once and you're like, I'm good.
That's because they showed so much. They did. They kept going. I'm like, man, this feels like you're kind of spoiling stuff for people who haven't played the other 2 games now. It's like, man.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, like I said, I'm pretty content with occasionally getting that random drop of information through the interviews and stuff. I don't know. Do I need another presentation of gameplay? Not really, but I'm also somebody who played through the first 2, like you have. So we kind of have to see what happens at the end. Like we're in it,
Yes.
That's it. So.
Oh, well, at least when you do or do not see more of this game, just know that you're not going to have 50,000 classes.
That's fine. That's fine.
Next up, Beast of Reincarnation. The reviews are out. 73 on Metacritic across 50 reviews. Seems like some places really enjoyed it. Others are straight up saying this is not a good game. I don't know where you sit on this game.
Played it for a couple hours.
You did play it?
They sent a review code over like a few hours before it went live. Okay. I fired it up, and it was on the PS5 Pro here. And the performance is worse on the Series X. They actually had to push almost an emergency patch. It felt like to fix there was something weird going on with that game on the Xbox. Not as bad on the PS5 Pro. But there's still like the game has a cool, I'll say a good art direction. But it's, how you'll see a game and the visuals look so good that if it does stutter, you're like, okay, yeah, I mean, look at the game. It stutters like that game, but doesn't look anywhere near as good as that game. It's kind of like there's some weird performance thing. When you pause the game and it has your character come up, I was like, whoa, what in the world is going on here? Like the hair is all broken up and there's like shimmering all over the characters. Like, is something wrong with the game? It was like that. So that was kind of unfortunate because it has that feeling of this is like that lower quality almost kind of game. But then you're playing it, and I think there's some good ideas there, and the combat can be pretty fun, but also pretty janky. There's a couple bosses I played where I'm like, man, I end up inside the boss. Like actually, I can see the back of the eyeballs model.
Is it turn-based or like how is it like?
So it's just action, and then you can press triangle for me on the PlayStation, and you have your wolf with you, and it will freeze time for a minute, and then you can choose a command from your wolf, and they have a couple of attacks they can do, and they'll also act independently while you're fighting as well. But that's mostly what I've seen so far. You do have like a skill tree that's a little strange the way they have it lined up to where you go both forwards for certain parts, but then also you drop down into a number of trees. It's not clicking with me, but also people are saying, oh, play Wu Chang Fallen Feathers. If you're unsure about this, that one also didn't click with me. So maybe it's just this kind of a game. Maybe I like seeing Game Freak try weird stuff like this, but man, they just keep swinging and miss over and over again with this stuff. But they say they're going to continue patching it. I think this is going to be a game before I get too far into it, because there's that game you get 20 hours in, then you come back and you're like, I don't know what I was doing, so I may as well restart or, spend a long time figuring it out. I think I'm going to let this one sit for a bit. They say they're going to patch it a bunch, and then I'll come back to it.
Yeah, they said they're going to do camera adjustments, increase the text size, story pacing improvements, changing the default setting from cinematic to performance, and then other bug fixes. So,
yeah. I like the idea of it. The setting is genuinely kind of interesting for it. You know, like your character has her hair can like make bridges and attack things. And I like it's kind of interesting. It feels almost floaty at times, but you have your double jump. You jump once, you jump again, and like I don't know, it's like I thought it was a plant. I guess maybe it's her hair forms out of the ground and you stand on it and it pushes you up and you kind of like float over things. It's kind of an interesting feeling double jump. So I think they have some cool ideas there. It's just feels like a game that maybe was supposed to be in development for another month.
It's kind of a shame that I think when this game first was shown, everyone collectively felt like this was a mediocre-ish game, and sure enough, like it sort of launched right into that sort of notoriety.
Yeah, I think the thing that just caught a lot of people's attention is Game Freak. You know, so the Pokemon company's making this. You know?
Yeah, there's a novelty to it.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Yeah, I did say we'll catch up to this. So Halo on PlayStation 5. Obviously, a big question mark we had for a while is that Halo debuting on PlayStation. How would this game sell? So we have a report here from Millennia Analytics. We always have to add this qualifier of they do estimations. It's based on a proprietary algorithm. I've seen tons of people sort of vouch for them lately, saying like they're actually pretty close. Having said that, just bear in mind, it's not hard numbers, but they put out this chart for the best top-selling games for PlayStation in July. So Call of Duty Black Ops 2 apparently dominated at 8.2 million copies sold. Black Ops 1 was much lower, but still an impressive 3 million units. However, all the way at the bottom of that list was Halo Campaign Evolved at 351,000. The head of market analysis at Alinea, Reese Elliott, states that from late July, the launch period, to early August, Halo on PS5 reached 452,000 units sold. The game moved 212,000 units on Steam and 900,000 on Xbox and PC. And that is a sell-through number. So that includes the early access purchases via Game Pass. It's not just strictly like Game Pass players. Those are sold numbers to that audience. So that's actually pretty substantial. I don't know. I'm pretty surprised, but I'm not sure how I'm surprised. I think I don't know. I think it was always going to be a tough sell for a 12-ish hour campaign of a single player, but also co-op game at $60. And now it's like kind of, I guess the sort of nostalgia bait this month was undeniably Call of Duty. And those games were effectively $20 because if you're a Plus member, they were all on sale. So I'm not really sure what to make of that number. What do you think, John?
So I do want to mention it's a $50 game on PlayStation 5. Yeah. And even that, though, I think you can make the argument that it feels a little pricey for what's offered here. Yes, because we never got the true test for Halo on PlayStation. The true test would have been the mainline Halo game with the iconic multiplayer attached to it, as in like PvP multiplayer. Because when the Halo games typically would drop, you would have a ton of multiplayer content. You'd have the campaign, but I will tell you now, so many people, and it's kind of a shame because I do like the Halo campaigns. So many people just go right to the multiplayer. Don't even touch the campaign. Like that is such a big aspect to Halo and the franchise that's just absent on this PS5 launch. So I will admit it's kind of difficult to judge it as a full Halo game as opposed to literally them just selling you the campaign and seeing what happens. And also now we're looking at this like, hold on, are any of the other Halo games going to show up on the PlayStation, or is this literally a one and that's like they're out, one and done? Because I think that's the move. So, I mean, the Xbox seemed to respond to it as you'd expect because it's Halo, and PlayStation didn't because it's Halo, but also it's not the PvP Halo that. If they moved Master Chief Collection over, I'd have been curious to see those numbers. That would have been a good one because Master Chief Collection still played. It still has a pretty healthy user base now, like more than a decade later or something. So right. I would have been curious to see that. Or honestly, even a free-to-play Halo Infinite getting moved over, I'd have just been interested to see how that would have done on PlayStation with even a player base. Like, because we can kind of see you can see the numbers week to week, for trends, and it'll tell you like how many people are playing. I would have been curious to see what that number would have been on your menu there.
Yeah, well, that menu went away, so it was in beta. So now it's
They saw
gone.
that they saw that Click R3 clip. They had to get that out of there.
Probably.
It was over. That was it.
Yeah, that's gone. I don't know. I guess I was expecting a better number, but I also was like, this game's not going to do crazy numbers. Like, I'm not, it's not going to do millions. But I'm like, there's a novelty to it. But yeah, 452,000. I don't know. Maybe that is the ballpark that makes sense. It seems like a steep ask. I guess I said 60, but yeah, $50 for basically a single player.
It'll go on
co-op
sale over
campaign.
time. This wouldn't be one that I wouldn't be shocked if we look back on it years from now and we're like, oh, okay, it did get a few million copies done on PlayStation over time when it goes down to $20 or something, and someone goes, you know what? Okay, sure, I'll check it out at that price. That wouldn't surprise me if we got there, but at least for initial launch numbers, also being overshadowed by an actual PvP multiplayer game from, by the way, an era around that time period with Black Ops and Black Ops 2. I mean, back then it was like, here's Halo 3, here's Call of Duty, and they would actually go head to head,
Yeah.
And now you have a campaign for Halo, and then here's the Black Ops or Call of Duty multiplayer that people remember so fondly. And we'll move it to PlayStation right around that same time. By the way, both Microsoft, so I don't know, they probably are like, whatever, we're making money on both of these. What do we care?
Well, it's like, so like from the PlayStation perspective, that's what's so interesting about the July month, because I was there in the thick of it, which is if you were a PlayStation guy, your multiplayer game was Call of Duty. You didn't have the Halo. And, I can sit here and vouch for Resistance and Killzone all day, every day, but the cultural icon of that time, the mass market shooter, was Call of Duty. And so to have that sort of loop back around and Halo's debuting against the big nostalgia bait for a PlayStation player back then, I can't even say I'm remotely surprised at 8 million something for Black Ops 2, because the game's effectively $20. You gotta be a Plus member to, play online.
It's not even a great port.
No, it's not even, it's not. But like, it was just like such a slam dunk $20. I mean,
Yeah.
people away $20 at a Taco Bell. That people are copping this game.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, boy.
What's wrong with the world? People spending $20 Taco Bell for one like person. That happened in the old days.
John, don't personally attack me, please.
You used to get 10 tacos for $10 back then.
Yeah, that's just long gone.
Man,
what's the party pack nowadays? It's probably like 20.
Gosh, I don't know. I might need to look that up. I'm honestly curious where we are with inflation. That's the inflation. That's the tracker. It's the 5-layer burrito that used to be like, man, what was that thing? 89 cents.
John, don't worry. I've got the Taco Bell app right here.
What is it now? I've been Taco Bell a long time, actually.
Oh, wait, they redesigned the app. Now it looks all stupid. Oh God, I don't know where it is now. Wait, tacos, view all.
We used to do that too. Get the 10 tacos for $10. That was the move back in the day, man. With a bunch of us, I'll get $10 and go get it.
Wait, is it a taco and burrito cravings pack? $21.99 includes 4 crunchy tacos and 4 beefy 5-layer burritos.
The 5-layer burrito, that was a good one though. I feel like that was more than $1 each. How much is that? Sure, how much did you say?
$21.99.
Oh my gosh, what is wrong with this world right now? What?
Yeah.
Can you just do a 10? Hold on. This person says it's $28 for a 12-pack.
Hold the phone.
$28 for 12 tacos.
There's no way. I gotta find it. I'm not seeing it in the app though. I'm under the group section.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm not seeing it under the regular taco section.
This is the real story right here. What's going on?
No, I don't see it. I will say some of these prices are pretty nuts.
Man.
But like the Discovery Lux box is still $9, and you usually get a decent amount of food for that.
Okay. How much do the remember the cinnamon twists there? How much do those cost?
Cinnamon? I don't think anybody actually willingly buys those.
Those are good.
I like them.
Those are good.
I like my deep fried DNA strands.
Willingly buys them. What, they just throw it in your bag when you're not looking?
Yeah, because they're in the like the Lux box, dude. They throw them in. But if you're on the app,
those were cheap. I used to get those. Those are good.
I know, but if they're in the app, you can like customize and you can just swap them out for chips and cheese. Am I really just showing my ass right now with how fat I tend to be? All right, hold on.
I've been Taco Bell in so long, dude. I think they've redesigned the Taco Bell near me like twice since the last time I went there.
Yeah, I
Like,
can't
it's
find the
changed
12
its
pack.
shape and look.
I can't find the 12. Is there a search option on this fucking thing?
Look on DoorDash. Oh, the DoorDash probably like pumps the numbers anyway on that.
They redesigned the app. There's a full menu and a my menu. I don't know what that means.
I'm gonna check. How much does the 10-pack tacos at Taco Bell?
A 10-pack or a 12-pack?
Is it? I feel like it was 10 for 10 back in the day, right? Or is that not? Oh, it says they discontinued it. Okay, it's known as the Taco Party Packs.
Oh, that's what I read to you earlier.
Yeah, that's what it is. Oh, it is. That's all it is. The 10. Man.
Well, the taco and taco and burrito cravings pack.
Here's the variety taco pack. Variety taco party pack. Here we go. Okay, this is 12. It's 6 crunchy tacos, 6 nacho cheese Doritos Locos tacos, and it's $23.49.
Jesus H. Christ.
Disgusting. That's like $2 a taco. Man, I'm sorry to all the young people out there. The kind of world you're in right now, you're coming into with $2 hard tacos at Taco Bell.
Well, let's move on from the depression.
How much is the hold on? How much is the 89 cents? What is that? What was that? Was that the it wasn't the 5-layer burrito? It was like 89 cents special for like a little burrito.
Well,
thing. What was that?
The advertisement was 69, 79, 89. Yeah.
They got you the jingle, huh?
Yeah. Next to Yokiro Taco Bell.
I remember that. Yeah, little dog.
Yeah. That it was a little dog.
Man.
Well, all right. Where were we? Estimated sales for Halo on PlayStation.
Oh, don't get me started on that McDonald's dollar menu. I'll go in there.
I don't even think it is a dollar menu. I think it's 1, 2, 3. And then like all if you want to eat is 3.
Dude, we used to drive to back in the day in high school. We used to drive to school and like we'd occasionally stop at McDonald's. Dude, you get so much food back then for $5.
Listen, we could make this a fast food podcast. Me and Aunt Dude are trying to do that.
I don't eat fast food though anymore. Back then, I would inhale fast food because I was a teenager playing soccer all day, and I would just eat so much fast food, and I wouldn't care.
Yeah, I unfortunately still fancy it every now and again.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't really. Yeah, the kids like McDonald's. That's about it. So I still am aware of the menu. The last time I went there, by the way, in the drive-thru, they had some AI thing taking my order. It messed it up too, by the way. They tried to give us apple slices instead of extra fries. What is this?
Listen,
what do I look like? Do I want apple slices from you?
A McChicken is still $1.50.
Goes McDonald's for apple slices. $1.50 for McChicken. That's not bad.
Hot and spicy McChicken's $2.29.
Okay.
Things could be worse. All right. I feel like we would be remiss to not mention EA's going private deal is now complete.
Yes.
So EA has now gone private with the Saudi Arabia Public Investment Fund, Silver Lake, and Affinity Partners. And that now means EA has $18 billion of debt to pay back. And according to Jason Schreier, EA told their investors that it will cut $700 million in costs, and $170 million of that is organizational efficiencies. What do you think that is?
Corporate term for a bunch of severance packages.
Who's on the chopping block here? Because this is scary.
Yeah, they're going to look around. I assume they're going to look to see who has a project up next and who doesn't, and then they're going to go from there. I figure, because when you go private, obviously you can be much more agile since you don't have to deal with quarterly reports and pleasing shareholders, which to me is actually a good thing now. If more companies can go private, it probably would be better for the gaming industry. But the way that they went private, they have saddled their balance sheet with a ton of debt. And they've let in some interesting characters, we'll say, for ownership. And now it's going to be a race to erase the debt, which comes down to, as you mentioned, layoffs for cost cutting, and then also heavy monetization, most likely in their games. If they can add microtransactions to microtransactions, they will. You know that when I saw this happen, I thought back to the college football thing that took place like a month ago, not even a few weeks ago, where it was really egregious with microtransactions. And the community was like, hold on, what is this? And there was so much backlash that EA had to backpedal on it. And I think they were just seeing where the line was, because obviously they knew this was happening. And it's like, okay, how much more money could college football make us? And I think they were testing it out and didn't work. So, okay, now they know kind of where the line is. So yeah, I assume there's going to be microtransactions more than usual, which is crazy because EA has already done that for a while.
Well,
potential.
Yeah, I don't say that though, because like that would be terrible, you know?
Well, I think they have to take a shot at Mass Effect. I do think so, because they might look at Mass Effect as potential for outside of gaming. You know what I mean? Like, can we do more with this? That's always the idea now, is make a game. Can it then become an Amazon series or something? You know?
Yeah. So. Yeah. Cross transmedia. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Maybe. I don't know. It's going to really be a shame. I got to think the morale at EA right now, at all those studios, like on the ground employees, is like at an all-time low.
If they went private and there wasn't a ton of debt hanging over their head, I'd actually be like, oh, this could be good for EA. But I think it's just they have so much debt, they have to literally figure out ways to pay it off quickly, and because there's also interest with that debt too. So they have to figure out how to erase that debt immediately, and more money and then less money going out, you know? And that's it. Layoffs and doubling down on surefire things, which is probably going to be then your sports games and everything else that taps into the mainstream. So
let's move on to PlayStation Productions, because this was a big deal. The God of War Amazon TV series. Ryan Hurst is out. He suffered a bicep injury, a bicep tear, and so he is completely out. They're going to recast Kratos. Apparently the studio wants to find somebody else. And we have Variety reporting that Dave Bautista has now been in talks with the studio to replace Ryan Hurst, which I'm not sure if people saw this, but apparently Ryan Hurst on Instagram, which his account is like not super active until like he put up a story saying like, don't believe things as they appear or something like that. If anybody saw this or remembers it, they can chime in otherwise, but I've already seen a lot of speculation that like, you know, the injury wasn't that bad or something, or like this is their excuse to like get a bigger name attached to the project or something.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we haven't heard from Ryan Hurst, I guess, haven't we?
Outside of that Instagram story, I guess so. I don't know. I mean, when you see Dave Bautista, you're like, oh, that's definitely a bigger name for sure. But he's also kind of weird in that, like, I think he actually could be a really good Kratos. But did the guy not go on record saying, like, I don't want to be a buff guy with paint on me? And now he's going to be a buff guy with paint on him.
Yeah, but this might be that one like instance of, but I can be Kratos. He might even like the games. I don't know. This might be that situation of I kind of want to be the God of War. So, I mean, he does fit the build well. People were wondering where he was with his because there are images of him being kind of skinny out there. Some of him where he's kind of bulked up. I think he's somewhere in the middle right now. But even so, let's face these Hollywood actors who have, almost unlimited resources to get in a certain shape for a role. I think he could be there in 2 months. All of a sudden be like, oh yeah, he knows what he's doing. He's been a bodybuilder like his whole life. So I think he would, at least on the look side, do really, really well. It's just the voice. Can he do the voice correctly? Some of the mannerisms for Kratos, of course, alongside of Atreus and that whole relationship. So I don't know. We'll see.
Well, I do recall him saying he wanted to do more serious roles. So at least the dichotomy of like Drax and Kratos is that Kratos is a much more, in 2018 up, he's a very grounded character. So I actually feel like he could probably do it pretty well.
Drax has that yell too. He could do the Kratos yell, Spartan Rage yell. I think he has it.
I think he could do it. Yeah. The only thing, well, I don't want to say the only thing, but what I liked about Ryan Hurst outside of like the image, which you like, yeah, it didn't show very well. Obviously, it will look way different when it's in motion. But he, respected the source material, and he was deeply involved with the source material in Ragnarok. So I thought there was actually a certain level of confidence there just off that alone. But yeah, apparently he filmed like 4.5 episodes or something. So this show is going to be
Man.
really expensive.
The other thing I would be somewhat concerned about is you've seen Dave Bautista in so many movies and in wrestling, and it's like when Kratos shows up on the screen, or you're just gonna be like, oh, there's Batista.
That's just Dave Bautista.
There
Yeah.
he is. Yeah, that's
True.
always my thing about having. And like, here's Atreus, and Tom Holland like walks in the frame, stuff like that. It's like, is that Atreus or is it just Tom Holland?
Yeah, I've never liked that. That's how Hollywood works. Is that it's always like a name game.
Yeah. Sometimes it is fun to get. It is cool sometimes to get almost an unknown or not as well known household name actor, actress, and they do really well and just launch their career.
But then it feels like psychologically it feels so much more real because you're like, this just could be anybody.
Right.
But there are times where I'm watching a movie and I'm like, oh, that's so and so, because I've seen them in 18 different things.
Yep.
Unless they're like, and that's I guess where the acting shops sort of step in. If they're really, really, really good at the role, then you set aside that you've seen them in 15 different things. So I don't know. I'm certainly not the movie connoisseur to be speaking a lot on this topic, but that's sort of where I'm at on that. Well, we can catch up on our super chats here, and I think we are pretty good to go, I would think.
Cool. Let me see. We have Dwayne says, pulling out the Wii to boot up Netflix for this. Does this still work on the Wii? I don't know. I mean, the homebrew scene's done a lot. I don't know if Netflix works.
I thought we went down because I know PS3 did.
Yeah, that'd be cool if it worked. If you get it working, that'd actually be pretty funny. Toast says, Ryan, my friend is trophy hunting Final Fantasy 14. As an experienced trophy hunter, can you please check a guide and let me know how much of a crackhead he is?
Sure. You want me to Google that for you? Is that what you're saying?
Let's see. I started that up they put it on the Switch too, and I was like, let me just see how this runs on the system. So I left it to download, and it installed, and I played like an hour, and I'm like, yeah, I can see why this is one of those games where people get hooked on. I get it. Like, I see it.
Okay, so Toasty, for the record, I've never seen the trophy guide for this game. This shit looks stupid.
Is it bad?
This looks stupid. 6 out of 10 difficulty. Okay, like it's a hard game. 999 hours. I think that's like the cap for
that's
like
insane.
just PSN profiles. All right, so there's a bunch in the story. DLC required is just a wall of hieroglyphics. There's somehow 4 unmissable trophies.
Really?
There's like a boatload of grindable, a ton of collectible. There's a bunch for online co-op, and
how many trophies are there?
Difficulty specific.
I
mean, yeah, there's like, oh geez, wait, hold on. It looks like a pretty run-of-the-mill list as far as like the breakdown. There's no gold, so it's all bronze and silver, which means it's like it's on the bigger side as far as how many separate things you have to do. This is crazy. Stage 1, main story. Stage 2, raid content. Stage 3, gathering and crafting. Stage 4, miscellaneous grinds. Let me
Sounds
go.
like it'd be a while.
There is not a single 100% achiever for this.
Really? Jeez.
There's 870 platinum achievers, and nobody's done 100%.
That game's played a lot too. That's crazy.
Yeah, there's no 100%. That's interesting. I wonder why it's not. Because I mean, there's got to be some hardcore people out there that have done it, but apparently not. Nobody's reported 100% on this game.
Yeah, I see Final Fantasy 14 get played constantly online. People love that game. Like I said, I fired it up and I'm like, okay, I see how this could be that game that just gets you addicted to it.
Unless there's like a DLC pack that like just came out.
What did, or it's about to. So yeah. Something came out.
Yes, yeah, okay, that's why. So Actually, there probably are people that have the 100%. I see 5 DLC trophies. It literally says unreleased trophy 1.
Have you tried playing that game before, Ryan?
Oh, never. No.
It's
I don't,
it's
I'm
got
not
the
built
free
for this.
trial, and I fired up the free trial. It's like, hey, you get this whole game and then like 3 expansions or something. And people are saying it's hundreds of hours just the free trial. You don't pay anything to ever really like play the game. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, it's the model, right? The free to play, basically.
Let's see. Javin says, Ryan, when will I win a $10 PSN voucher? It's been over 5 years trying. Do you think the PS6 controller will be replaced with haptic touchscreen buttons?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm surprised more people don't enter my weekly contest because I can tell you it's really not that many. So your odds are good. You've just been very unlucky, I'm afraid. PS6, no, I don't think so. That'd be a terrible way to play games.
Yeah, just touch controls. Yeah, I still think that controller concept that people keep talking about, if anything, it's part of like an accessibility controller,
Maybe
like somewhere,
yeah.
where they want to move stuff around on a screen.
Yeah, I don't think they'd ever do that.
Yes, says, when is the next PSR?
Yeah, it's a video series I did. Unfortunately, those videos take way too long to make, and very few people watch them. So they're on the back burner right now, I'm afraid.
Brandon Lee says, what color scheme do you think the PS6 will be? I'm thinking it will be silver. A
dark blue.
A dark blue. Interesting. Okay. So you mean like a primary color is dark blue, not there will be accents of dark blue.
I think I don't know if I want to be firm on like the exact idea, but I would think dark blue plays an element in the hardware design and the basic sort of marketing color scheme for it.
Okay. Yeah, because we went from like matte black then to white, which is obviously very drastically different, a huge shift. I feel like the shift would then be back to black, but maybe you're right. Maybe they U-turn or they do a 90-degree turn and go to blue.
If it's not like a dark blue or something, I would think then they'll just go back to black.
Yeah, that'll be, man, that's the thing is like, what would it look like? Their designs are always so odd. So I don't know. It's hard to guess, with how they look.
Yeah.
I think I got everything there. We are good. Yes. Do you have the PSX? Go and give it to you.
Shit. I'm sitting here bullshitting. I didn't get this ready. Hold on. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for PS, the topic of the show where we go over something cool, old, unique, nostalgic about PlayStation history, teach the kiddos something they didn't know or forgot about PlayStation. I thought it was very pertinent to go over an online campaign that happened back in 2013 because PlayStation fans, they're loud, they're proud, and they care about certain things. And so there's no appropriate time to go over the hashtag PS4 no DRM campaign. And for a lot of folks that sit here and say that stuff don't work, well, there are times when companies do care about your dollar and they do respond to goodwill initiatives. Hashtag PS4 no DRM was in the midst of the new cycle of consoles. PlayStation 4, Xbox, this was pre-E3, so there was still a lot of unknowns about the hardware. They were formally revealed, but there was a lot of rumors and speculation that these consoles would require internet, that they would have some sort of heavy digital rights management, and possibly block used games. It was a very big deal. It was a huge outcry. And so hashtag PS4 no DRM was a massive campaign from the fans that actually did bleed into a response publicly on the E3 stage. That is the big thing about E3 2013 is that it was so transformative for PlayStation historically because their closest competitor really dropped the ball. They were doing a number of those things. That was their sales pitch for Xbox One. But PlayStation took that as an opportunity to take the stage at E3 and announce that PS4 will not impose new restrictions on used games. PS4 won't have to check in online to play. It won't stop working after 24 hours. And after that whole thing played out, we did get accounts from Shuhei Yoshida, which was basically, we saw all the stuff online and we decided to make a change to our E3 presentation and add in that little section to acknowledge it. You know, the little sharing used game video, like we always have the account from Adam Boys and Shuhei that was kind of an off the cuff thing that they just kind of filmed backstage of E3, you know, but it very much was a response to the campaign that PlayStation was not planning on doing anything. And that is the account that we have. I've seen people over the years make the accusation that PlayStation was doing something. They saw the pushback and they decided to dial back on it. Our understanding, every account I've ever heard, is that PlayStation was surprised by the campaign, as in we weren't going to do anything. And they instead decided to capitalize on it by throwing shade at their closest competitor at the time.
Yeah, it's interesting because I believe Sean Layden mentioned in an interview that he's been asked about removing the disk drive from a system all the way back to like when they were setting up the PS4, even like during that PS3 era. Basically, as soon as digital purchasing went online for full price games and that became possible, they were like, hey, do we need this disk drive still? That's still gonna be a thing. So it is interesting that those conversations were floating around, but they still thought about, oh, we could actually get one up then easily by just already not doing anything, but making sure people know we're not doing anything. So but the thing is, that was what, 13 years ago? Man, things change quick. They change quick. So, but the other part to remember with that though, Ryan, is they had people who could go on camera and do that kind of stuff. You know who I have grown to know very well now, and it's not a good thing either, is Lin Tao.
I don't think there's ever good scenarios from Lin Tao, or I mean, Herman's got a few, but like they're heavily overshadowed.
But who are you? Like, we're hearing more about the company from her than anyone else, really. So like, she's becoming like the PlayStation person now, just by way of she's actually like in front of the camera at times talking.
It's a different PlayStation, and that's like the reality, is that we just don't have that sort of charismatic, you know, camaraderie with the fans, you know. And it was like I think a kind of a healthy middle ground. You know, I do mention Xbox in this conversation at times because that's like a point of consternation on that side, is that they take it a bit too far. Like the parasocial relationship that these executives, you know, 6-figure, 7-figure salaries these guys are on, these relationships they have with the fans, you know, tends to be a bit too far. And, you know, PlayStation, it wasn't really like that in 2013. It was very lighthearted and you know, it was fun, you know, and when they would do PlayStation Experience, that was fun. And they don't have those personalities at the company anymore. And they just, the sort of culture and how they communicate with fans, it's completely different. And it's a lot more sterile and in many ways cold.
Yes. It was fun back then with these different personalities. So I don't know. What's Kevin Butler up to? What's he doing?
What's his name? Jerry Lambert.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's he acting in recently? I'll look at his IMDb.
Yeah. I don't know. They don't really have, like, Herman Hulst says no one wants to see him on screen anymore. People don't. I guess maybe Nishino at least benefits from people not really knowing him much.
No, I mean, yeah, he's done more appearances now, you know.
I guess they have Sid Schumann.
Jerry Lambert appeared in the Santa Clauses TV series in 2022.
Okay. We can work with that.
And he played a sex offender in Family Guy.
Well, that's okay.
There you go.
Okay.
All right.
Is that everything for PSX going to give it to you?
It is. I'm trying to see if they're actually crediting his commercial appearances here.
Oh, for PlayStation, man.
Yeah, why not? Is that a thing? Does IMDb?
I don't know. Do they
commercials?
I feel like that's actually that's legitimate work.
2000. I'm looking in the 07s, 09s.
Interesting.
Oh, he was on Everybody Loves Raymond. Yeah. He's like one of Ray's friends or something.
Another time.
Well, there you go.
Thanks everyone for tuning in. We appreciate it. Shout out to the support, of course, and the super chats. Everyone hanging out with us for a bit. we'll be back in a couple of weeks. Don't worry. People were like, we need the next Click R3, okay? Where are you guys? I saw that it was in the chat. I was like, okay, we're coming back. We're coming back. We're back. So a couple of weeks we'll be back again. That'll be probably like August 19th, 20th, 21st, somewhere in there, depending on scheduling and stuff. But we will be back and see how things are going. Actually, when we come back then, we'll be only another 2 shows away from Wolverine. So
yep. It's coming up.
Yep. All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We appreciate it. We'll be back a couple weeks, do it all over again. We'll see you guys then.